Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 22nd of October 2020. This is the Gap, episode 539. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is maybe here. You're off a little bit today, it looks like.
Am I? What? Why am I off? What's
we,
wrong with me?
We tried to do the syncing and you just blanked. So
Look.
At the start of the episode, before we record, we usually try and sync our audio. We've been doing it recently to try and make things a little bit easier for me. And we'll do a countdown. We'll go 3, 2, 1, and then we both say go on the next beat. And we did it, and Joab just forgot to fucking say anything. And he just was sitting there looking. And he's like, oh, I forgot to say something. Is it too early or something? No coffee? What's going
on? No, I'm just a space case, hey. I don't know. I don't have a good excuse for that one. I think I'm sundowning. I think this is the end for me. I've been noticing that go for a walk every day to try and get out of the house and try to not get, my wife has taken over with this work from home shit. My wife's taken over the entire fucking apartment and I get locked in my little room. Anyone watching on YouTube, so the 11 of you, we'll be able to see that I'm bathed in a bright purple light, which is the classic of the variety Twitch streamer. But also, in my case, it's I don't know if I will just quickly. It's my fucking hydroponic. I've got I've gone full on. I've gone the whole hog. I've got alfoil taped up on my office windows now to block out the heat and the light. And I've got this hydroponic lamp to grow basil so I can have some sort of oxygen in here. And I don't open my window until after 11 o'clock because the apartment itself faces east. Right. And so the sun just fucking bakes this room. And I'm extremely worried about having 3 monitors, a giant fucking PC, and what will inevitably be 2 next gen fucking consoles all in this one room. Because what I think is going to happen is I'm going to get slow roasted anytime I have more than I have my PC on and one of these consoles. The entire room is going to reach an average temperature of about 60 degrees. And if I sit in that for 9 hours, that's it. Chuck me on a grill and baby, you've got some fucking slow roasted Joab. Right? The full reverse sear.
Get some rosemary in there. You'll be all sorts of spices.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cram some fucking garlic in my ears. Easy peasy. Anyway, point of this.
The work from home thing seems to be pretty businesses are sort of adapting to it even more. I saw a Microsoft statement. I think it was maybe a week ago, maybe a week and a half, saying that they're doing it permanently now, where you'll be able to work from home even after this is all done. They're introducing it as a thing, and I think we're going to see that a lot because it's
see a lot more.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's better for them, I guess.
I think it's better for almost everyone. Almost everyone. I know there are some people who absolutely do not operate better.
Construction workers.
They have issues, they're
till the robots come.
Breaks up and but no, office workers, there are office workers who don't work better in work from home scenarios as well. They need to be in those spaces, right? They need that collaborative element. But I mean, me 100%, I work better when I can shut everyone out. The problem I think that was stopping work from home for a long time for a lot of people was there is a definite transition period where you get fucking nothing done, right? You're well, I could actually fire up Warzone at 10:30 and take a long lunch that happens to be 8 hours long and just do nothing today. And there's no boss looking
as
over
long
my
as
shoulder,
you get your work done.
As long as I get my work done, and then I fucking realize I have to get my work done and I shit it in, right? that was like obviously Warzone didn't exist for me back when I started working from home, but like I did absolutely go through a 6-month period where I just fucking farted about doing nothing. When I first tried to do this shit, I was just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna do nothing again today. And then eventually, you create some, I think, healthy ways of working from home. And once you've done that, yeah, there's absolutely no difference for a lot of people, I think, between working from home and working in an office. And in some cases, it's probably better. In my case, it's definitely better to work from home. I remember when at Red Bull, they were like heavily insisting that we I would have to come into the office once a week. And then I was like, that's not going to work. That's like even when I lived like fucking 2 blocks from the Red Bull offices in Australia, I was still like, yeah, that's not going to work. No, I don't want to do that. You don't want me to do that. What the fuck? Why would you want me to do that? That is significantly worse. And I managed to negotiate it down to like once a month. And that once a month, I would get so little work done because they were like asking questions and like, looking for advice and roping me into meetings. And they'd be like, oh, there's a town hall or some shit. And you're like, how the fuck do you want content on your website? Because that's what you pay me for content, not to be in a fucking town hall meeting about the future of meetings in fucking Red Bull. I cannot imagine a worse meeting to be in than one about meetings, but holy shit, I went to 2 of them. Like, did they schedule them only on days that I was going in? Or was that just every day they would have a meeting about meetings? Was that just something they did very regularly and I just had no idea?
Yeah.
Fucking insanity. Anyway, so yeah, me working from home, like, it's been weird having my wife working here because I don't know. She's still, she was adjusting for a long time. So she just like sort of fucking wander into my office while I was fucking typing away. And she's like, hey, what are we going to do for dinner? And I'm like, I don't know. It's fucking 9:45 in the morning. Maybe we could revisit this topic in 7 hours or something. I don't know. Let's look into that. Yeah. And she'd be like, oh, okay. And then she'd wander away. And then like 15 minutes later, she'd be like, do you want a cup of tea? I was like,
yeah.
I want to finish this fucking sentence.
Yeah. I get that as well. Because my office is next to the kitchen.
Yeah.
And so if my wife like walks in and starts talking to me, I generally got headphones on and she'll be talking to me and I can't hear her. But she'll be in the kitchen. I'll be like, are you trying to talk to me? Like, I can't hear you. And this is a constant thing. Yeah.
You hear like half a syllable of a word and you're like, I don't want to look like a massive cunt. So obviously I have to respond to this.
But the other thing is like, for me, I don't know if she's talking to the cats or if she's on like a phone call or something because her office is also sort of in our lounge room. And then at other times she would come in and she'd just start talking to me. I'm like literally in the middle of a sentence. It's very hard for writers to just stop and be like 100% full attention because then you lose your your train of thought.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand that once you start actually going, like it takes you a while to be like in that focus, which is where that whole thing about like writer's block comes from and stuff like that, where you'll get to a point where you can start writing and you just start spewing out words. And if you lose that, you got to try and think about what you're talking about and you sort of lose that momentum. And that can be quite hard. If you're aiming to write like fucking 400 words in 30 minutes or something like that, and you've spent 15 minutes thinking about what you were going to write or like structuring it out, and then you get halfway through and someone walks in and wants to have a conversation about like, I don't know, like you said, like what are we doing for dinner on 3 nights from now? Like, I just want to finish it. Just give me 1 second. Let me finish this. Yeah, it's
yeah.
Anyway, that's why we need locks on doors or something, bubbles.
Locks on doors.
Hmm.
I don't imagine that pitch going too well.
Mine's
My
very
wife
easy because
brought
my door is
locks on
right
either
here. And
side.
I can just do that and go lock and problem solved. But yours is you need like a door stick.
A door, yeah, that'd be good. And then like just one of those little grabber hands.
Yeah.
Just reach over and turn it.
Or if you forget to lock it, you just grab the door stick and just hit her with it. I mean, like, go away.
Yeah, my worry would be that she'd put a lock on the other side as well.
Lock you in here.
Be fucked.
You get so much work done.
Yeah, that'd be one upside, but I'd also be trapped in here with all my farts. So
yeah. You wouldn't have to go to the toilet during the podcast anymore. It'd be great.
No, I'd still have to go.
Oh.
I just have to find a corner. Anyway, this conversation has taken a turn. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I'm really old. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're already wild. Like we went wildly off topic on our off-topic conversation, so we're off to a good start. I think. Maybe I'm not the only one who's tired. Did you think about that?
No.
Maybe I'm not the only one who's tired. Maybe other people are tired. Maybe all of our listeners are tired, Luke. Tired of not seeing you eat fucking spaghetti and Skittles.
We talked about this. I'm waiting for my burrito. Was it my burrito?
Stop delaying.
We have about 6 bets that have gone on, and I've won like 85% of them, and I've not seen anything. I remember the last one.
You did get your fucking one of your burritos. Okay,
no, I didn't. That's a lie.
You did get one of your burritos.
That is a lie.
Got one of your burritos. You actually got one of your burritos. That is not a lie. You lived next to the fucking Mad Max.
They didn't do 1 kilo burritos.
No. Yes, see. Oh
you
my
are making
God.
things up now.
What is going on? What is going on?
Fake burrito.
Fucking unbelievable. So if I mail you a kilo burrito, right?
It's gonna stink.
That's not my fucking problem. You will have your fucking kilo burrito. Does it just has to be a kilo burrito, right? I could make it myself.
I don't know if it was a kilo burrito. I can actually look this up. I'm pretty sure we got it saved somewhere. If it was in like a game of the year doc or something, I'm not sure. Let me just have a quick look.
Does it now feel like an appropriate time?
Oh yeah, the people want to know. People want to know.
People want you to eat spaghetti Skittles.
Predictions. Oh, here we go. There's 2 files. One's 2015. This is the latest one. All right, this looks promising. I'll go through some of these because it looks quite funny. The next Rockstar game, you said it'd be called Red Dead Revenge.
Yep.
I said it'd be called Red Dead Revenge. So we're both wrong there. Now this one here, Fallout 4 Future Fighters is coming out this year, and it's for a 1 kilo burrito. Joab said no. Doom this year. I said yes, it's coming out this year. Doom / Dishonored 2 next year. So when was Fallout 4? Fallout 4. 2015. So you were wrong about that. I was right.
I believe you got that one because it was 5 fucking years ago and you lived next to the fucking 1 kilo burrito place.
Doom was 2016, so I was right about that as well. And what was your other one? Dishonored?
You didn't get 2 fucking kilo burritos for every single... It was just the one fucking bet. You don't get to fucking stack on...
Dishonored 2 was 2016, so I was right about that as well. That's a triple threat bet, that one. That's amazing.
Just because you made it into a trifecta doesn't mean that you actually that it was actually fucking anything. Like the odds didn't raise as a result. Your payout doesn't change.
We're only halfway through here. I can keep going. This one says
share this shit with me so I can see it because I have no there's no way for me to verify any of this.
Can I share my screen? Does that work?
Share your screen. That'll work. To that. Let's see. Is this going to fuck up the recording?
It might.
Maybe.
Oh gosh.
Maybe you shouldn't.
No, let's see what happens. Because then people at home can see it. That's interesting. You can see that now.
Oh yeah.
It says your stream is still running.
Smallest screen.
We've got The Division And Siege will be delayed this year. It says no from Joab, yes from Luke, and apparently both were delayed. So I won that one. Battlefront this year for a cronut. Yes, I said no. And
this year half a game.
That sounds like something I
in your fucking look at this shit. He's putting fucking stank on these fucking answers.
Half a game came out.
What does bet fulfill mean? You reckon you bought me a cronut?
I remember this cronut. Yeah, it was from a place down near, I think, the casino or something, right?
I don't think there was any place near the casino that did a fucking cronut, mate.
What's a cronut?
I would have fucking been there. A cronut's like a donut made of
we had something on the top, right? Yeah.
Sometimes.
I think we went down to the casino place and got one. There was like a casino or like below, there's like a mall or something below the casino, like a shopping area.
I don't think there was a cronut place there. I'm pretty sure I would know.
This one says Star Wars Battlefront has a smooth launch. Joe says no. Luke says no. And I think we're just going to go with no with that one.
Almost definitely not.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So.
Anyway, let's kill this.
So what do I owe you?
Maybe 3 burritos if we're going with the triple threat.
You don't get 3 burritos. You get 1 fucking burrito.
We got the Division and Siege. I won that one.
But there was no bet on that. Otherwise, you would have fucking written it in. So you get 1
I think it was ice cream
burrito. Where's the ice cream one?
I think it was that one. I mustn't have written down what it was for.
How convenient. Yeah. How convenient for you that you accidentally didn't write down what it was for.
No. I mean, I didn't write down the ice cream attachment to it. It must have been the Division.
Mustn't have been. Prove it. Fucking prove it.
I can't.
I got you a kilo burrito, so that can't be
I would remember eating a kilo burrito.
How do you not remember this?
I would have struggled extremely hard.
How have I eaten 4 kilo burritos over the course of my entire life, and we've never eaten one together, despite me eating one at the place next to your fucking house?
Because it was only a special they did, and I never had one.
Yeah, no, you did. You fucking did. This is so fucking cooked. Holy shit. Unbelievable.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Let's talk about some games.
Skittles, Luke.
All right, I'll get them. I started seeing ads for Skittles on my phone. I think we're talking about it too much.
Good. Now you just need ads for spaghetti, and maybe you'll finally fucking fess up on this bet. I don't even remember what the bet was about. I just remember that you haven't had the fucking spaghetti Skittles. That's all I remember at this point. Tenet still isn't out on streaming.
It is. You can rent a movie theater and stream it from your inside the movie theater.
Yeah, easy. So easy. Anyway.
All right. Should we talk about some games?
Video games.
What have we got? Let's go with Dead by Daylight. Is the first one on the list. New update came out this week, and it introduces a bunch of balance changes and bug fixes and that sort of stuff. But one of the big changes is a graphics update. Part 1 of the graphics update that they're doing. And so basically what this one is doing is updating the tile set for the McMillan Estate maps. So there's multiple maps. You use the same sort of tile sets. And they've gone through and updated all the textures and sort of also reworked the actual layouts of the tile sets and that sort of thing. So you're actually getting maps that you sort of can look at and be like, oh, I'm familiar with these types of areas and like locations within maps, but also they've just gone in and also rebalance some of the tile sets as well. So you'll run into areas that are like, oh, I've not seen this before, and it looks quite different. So it's cool. It's got a different tone to it. I remember the original maps all had this like bluish sort of um, like tone, making it a little bit darker, I guess. And this is a lot more brighter and visually a bit more clear. And in saying that, I think I don't like it as much. I think the updated textures on the environments and the detail that they've added in um, some of the like tile sets now are a lot better. But in terms of the visual style, I don't like it as much. I think it's too bright. I think that it's supposed to be a game about hide and seek, right? And by making everything visually clearer and um, the colors a bit brighter and that sort of thing, it sort of makes it a bit harder for you to. Well, I think on both sides, it makes it harder for you as a survivor to be able to hide in places like tall grass or in a corner.
Yeah.
And I think that ends up making it easier for for the killers to do their thing, and that sort of changes the dynamic of the game a little bit. It sort of disappears as a horror game, like it's slowly fading away from a horror game and moving more towards like an action game, I guess, like trying to keep that pace up a bit more. Um, and that was always something that was the struggle with Dead by Daylight, at least to start, is like trying to find this balance on how long a game's supposed to last for and how do we slow it down a little bit. Like we want to make some of these killers a bit more menacing and um, not be as fast paced, because there were games where they would just go on so quickly, and that's when they started
Yeah.
adding in like the um, progression on generators being able to regress and go
Yeah.
backwards,
The
as
kicking.
opposed to
Yeah.
just like people just smashing through generators and finishing a game super quickly
Yeah.
with the killer not doing anything. And so, yeah, I think by moving away from, and this could be unintentional, I haven't looked at the feedback, this is sort of just my personal experience, but the moving away from it being a bit more darker, muddy sort of visual style is, I think, maybe the wrong direction of this, where this game is going. And I think that is not necessarily just this Macmillan Estate rework. I think this is a tone overall with some of the maps that I've seen they've introduced recently. They're a lot more brighter and being able
Colorful.
to,
I think it's colors.
yeah,
That's
colors
what I
as
think
well.
it is.
Yeah.
Because I think what they've done wrong with Macmillan is
Have
like,
you
yeah,
played it?
no, I was I haven't played on Macmillan.
Hmm.
I was jumping in, but you don't get to choose.
I jump in and burn a bunch of the Macmillan Estate
Yeah,
add-ons, and I
smart.
kept popping them. I was like, yeah, cool. I want to see
I
this.
probably have a billion of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, looking like when I saw the patch video, it reminded me of like they might have actually been. It might be accidental. They may have actually accidentally landed on something that was really good for the game,
Hmm.
which is if there is an overwhelming color tone, then it makes it more difficult for the survivors to contrast
Sure.
against the background, right? Because I guess that's the theory behind camouflage, is that what you're supposed to do is blend in with your surroundings, and to do that you sort of marry the same color. But if there's only one color, then it's very difficult. Like, soldiers have to train for ages to be able to actually identify targets in night vision or
Hmm.
IR or whatever the fuck they're using, red fucking light, because it changes the color profile in general. And so, yeah, if everything's green, then what they're generally watching for is moved in general or stuff like that. But when you've got generally, like, I think it's lit the same, or not the
Hmm.
same. It's definitely lit a little bit better. But when it's lit in such a way where the colors are more varied, that it's easier to contrast the movement of survivors against those different colors, as opposed to if everything is blue or orange or green, orange is that fucking Western level, or the green of the fucking, or red is that Oni level, the Japanese level. Green is the fucking Mike Myers level. Like, they've got these overall themed colors, and if you take that away, and it seems like that is their intention, it becomes easier for the killer to see you. I guess in the sense, in Mike Myers' case, when you don't want to be seen at all, it's a bit easier to see him. But yeah, it's like it makes me, this change makes me wonder if they did it by accident in the first place, or if the art, like whoever is in charge of the art design on the levels maybe left, and their broader mandate on an overarching color as left with them,
because you can look at that trailer they've put out, and they do like a comparison. It sort of slides between the two, and you can see the color shift, like from it going
100%
from a blue to a crispy, very clear. And for me, it's the grass that really points it out, because I think as a survivor, you would always have that opportunity to sort of sometimes get away with being able to hide in grass if you were really good, but it just seems too bright now. Like the grass seems too bright. At the same time, I'm wondering if they're trying to also maybe buff some of those other add-ons, like the mist and that sort of thing, so that people were using that a bit more and making it harder for people to see. I don't really know the thinking. I play the game a lot, but I don't really engage with the community as much, so I don't know. Like, I used to watch all the developer streams, and I don't do that anymore, so I don't really know their thinking behind all of this stuff, and maybe they've talked about it as to why they changed it. But just me playing, I appreciate the updated visual fidelity of the textures, and it looks a lot better. But at the same time, it just seems like there's too much light happening in the game. Like it's very bright, and I think that should be toned right down. So anyway, that's just my feedback. But yeah, man, I'm still playing a bunch of that game. I jump in every couple of days. I think over the last week I've missed maybe 1 or 2 days. But otherwise I'll jump in. I'll do my like couple dailies. I played for like 3-4 hours yesterday, and like 3 hours the day before. I've been right back in there, messing around, and I'm playing a bit of both. Like, by having the dailies in there, it kind of forces me to go, I'm going to go try some of the survivors, because I usually just play killer. And I'm sort of grinding my way back to rank 1 killer. I think I'm at like 9 or something like that. I'm just destroying people. It's disgusting. But as a survivor, it's a little bit more challenging. I feel like I'm doing pretty good as survivor. It's the other people that I'm playing with that are sometimes struggling a bit. And because the last time we played, you and I together, they just rolled out that new matchmaking, the new ranking system, and remember it broke everything. It's fixed now. Like, for the most part, you get people that are the same ranks as you. And I've come across killers where we have just obliterated them. Like, they are, you can tell they're new. And that sort of thing. So the ranking is definitely working in terms of that. So I'm grinding my way through Survivor, trying to build up the rank on some of my less used ones to try and unlock a bunch of skills that they've got and perks and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's been I'm really digging it. So it's a lot of fun. I hope they do make some changes in terms of the visual style of it, but otherwise I still enjoy the one sort of thing that I don't like that I've played recently is the I think it's part of the Silent Hill pack. I could be wrong, but it's like a school and it's multi-leveled, and I don't like that, because you sort of get, as a survivor at least, you sort of get the you get a heartbeat sound which tells you whether or not the killer is nearby. And because there's 2 levels, or I think it could even be 3 levels. No, it's 2 levels in a basement. Because it's 2 levels, if they are above you, you don't really know because you still hear the heartbeat. It sounds like it's getting close, so you're always on the worry about like, are they actually nearby or are they a level above me? Like, should I stop working on this generator? And it becomes this thing of like constantly walking away from where you are and trying to hide, and then being like, oh, they must be above me. Um,
Yeah.
and then you not knowing if they're walking back above you, whether they've actually dropped down and now they're actually walking toward you. And I think that's something you don't get on the other maps, because except for the Saw map, that's a little bit different, but it's not as like, this is basically two levels and they're stacked on top of each other, whereas the Saw map is a little bit different. It's got some bits that go underground, and you sort of see quite far in terms of like your level off in the distance. So if you hear that heartbeat, you can usually tell if you're on that top floor, if they're coming towards you, and if you can't hear it, you know they're below you. Whereas on the school level, it's like a square, and there's hallways and there's adjoined rooms surrounding it, and so you can't actually see outside in the hallway if someone's coming for you or if they're on a different floor, and that's where the confusion comes about. So I don't like
Yeah.
that level as much as a
What
survivor, at least.
what should they wait? What would you want them to do to fix
I
it?
think they should just go away from multi-leveled
Right.
uh,
Just
levels like that, particularly. I think the Saw one is okay, like I said,
what if
because
you
you
had
can
like a
see around
higher
them.
pitch or a lower pitch, depending on if they're higher above you or below you? It'd be like super subtle, but you can like hear it sort of like if you
I
look
don't
on a
think
mini map and
yeah.
you can see the tiny up arrow or the down arrow or whatever.
Nah. I think I just
No,
leave it.
just fuck it.
Just I think it's the maps. They have to stop doing that style with the map.
Yeah.
Because it works on something others, like the Michael Myers map with the um it's like a little town or like a little suburban area, and there's houses that are multi-leveled, and you can go
Yeah,
into
but that works
basements.
because like the entire area is basically a fucking tube, right?
Yeah.
Uh yeah, but as soon as it's like the entire thing is multi-leveled,
Yeah, as soon as it's a
yeah,
tiny thing, it doesn't work, which is why I
yeah,
think it's not a good map.
yeah.
And it's extremely like, I've played that as a killer a bunch, and I don't think anybody's ever escaped on that map just because of how easy it is to defend everything. Um, because you can sort of just work it being like, all right, well, I'm just going to defend this generator. So they've got the
Yeah.
next three they've got to go for are really close, and I'm just going to destroy them if they try and do that.
But that is often the survivor's fault more than anything.
Sure, yeah, and that's a killer knowing like strategically what they should be doing. Like, there's a generator off to the distance. I'm just going to let that one go. There's no point
Yeah.
in trying to
Yeah.
do anything about it.
Yeah, and it's the survivor's entire mission then to not give up on that
Hmm.
one little area, because otherwise they are fucked.
Yeah,
But that requires a level of coordination that often you can't get with randoms.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I've been playing that a lot recently, and
Awesome.
I'm back in it ever since you put it on our radar again. So
Yeah.
it's been my go-to game. Like, it'll hit about 4 o'clock here in the evening, and I'll jump in and play for like 2 hours until I have to go make dinner or something like that. And yeah, it's been good. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm having more fun playing as a survivor now as well. Sort of like learning the ropes of that. Um,
Yeah.
it's been fun. Anyway,
Cool.
that's Dead by Daylight. It's out on pretty much everything at this
Everything
stage.
at this point,
I
yeah.
think these graphical updates also went out on console platforms as well, from what
They would have to, wouldn't they?
from what I can understand.
Because they added crossplay, right? So now it
Yeah,
has to be uniform across the board.
yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
All right, that is it.
Cool. What do we got next? What's on next?
Next up, we got Torchlight 3.
Sure.
So I talked about this a couple months back when it went 1.0. Sorry, it went early access, and over the last week it has gone 1.0. And the last time I talked about it, was not having a great time. And so Torchlight 3, for people that don't know, it is a isometric RPG loot game, sort of brought to life after we had this lull of Diablo. Like when they weren't making Diablo games. This is like some of the I feel like there were people that were on the Diablo team that went and made this. I don't know if they're still there. But that's kind of when Torchlight was created, and they made a sequel, and then they made this third one. And so my last time playing this, I was not having fun with it. I think the biggest problem that I sort of walked away with was the lack of escapability, or like early on in the game, just not giving you anything and feeling like you would get trapped amongst the enemies in the world, and they'd sort of swarm you and surround you, and you'd just constantly be dying all the time. And so I didn't when this hit 1.0 the other day, I was quite surprised because I thought it was a quick turnaround, and so I thought I'll jump in, give it another try, and see what they've done to it. And this time around, I've had a lot more fun. The escapability skills on this particular character I was using, which is like a robot, like a steampunk robot, and yeah, they've got an escape move now. They got this dash thing that they can sort of barrel through enemies. It knocks them out of the way. And so I didn't have any problems getting overwhelmed by enemies anymore. It was pretty the maneuverability of the character was much better than what I played last time, so that was pretty cool. There seems to be a lot of content in this game. Like, I've played for, let me check. It says I've played for 8.5 hours at this stage. And I've just gotten to the second, like, themed area, which is a swamp. And it seems like I've got like 2 more areas to go. So there seems to be a bit of content. It is dragged out in terms of its theme. Like, you're in this one location for maybe 6 hours, and the tile sets are pretty similar, like for the most part, and you're running into the same lot of enemies and same lot of creatures and same lot of bosses as well. It's got this thing where they're called like phase events, and you can go in them and you can fight bosses that you've fought before, but they've leveled up to sort of your level now, and you can fight them and earn more gear, and it gives you a pet as well, and that usually takes a little bit to kill them. But otherwise, like, it's pretty grindy in terms of going from one mission to another. There's not a lot of variety in terms of like what you're doing. It's pretty much just left clicking, right clicking, and mashing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your skill bar and casting spells and abilities, and then going through and like going through your quest log and completing everything that's in there. And there's not really any, like I said, variety in them. It's just pretty much point A to point B, and that's it. There's just not a lot of, like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's really bringing anything new to the genre.
Yeah,
and that could be okay for people that just kind of want to play a RPG looter game. Just click, and it'll probably satisfy you. But if you're looking for something that is moving that genre forward and trying something different, I don't think it does much. It's still doing like orbs to heal, and sorry, not orbs, potions to heal, and you pick them up. Sort of Diablo moves away from that as well in Diablo 3, so there's no more orbs on the ground. It's going back to potions. But with like Diablo 4, because I played that about a year ago, like, you can see the evolution.
Like almost exactly a year ago, eh?
Yeah, pretty much. You can see the evolution of 3 to 4, like the things they've gone, all right, how can we change up the gameplay? And we're going to have these like sockets in your weapons, and when you put certain things on there, the like runes in there, it's going to change the way your spells work, and your spells will behave differently if you put like 3 of these types of runes in there. And so they're moving more towards like a allowing players to sort of tweak and tinker with the way their characters are, that affects the way their spells behave. as opposed. So like I could have a build in the game that is exactly the same as yours, but they'll behave completely differently because we've got maybe different runes in these weapons, and so the spells could be the same, but the way they behave and interact with the environment could be completely different, you know. And that's apart from being like, oh, maybe we both got the same character, we put a different spell build in. So they've sort of stretched that out even further, and that's not something you've seen like Torchlight 3. It's just very, it's sort of like the same Torchlight game we've been playing for two iterations now. Iterations, not iterations. Iterations now. You know, there's a pet system in there, and you can send the pet to go back to town, but there's no reason to do that anymore because there's like you can sort of trade items to increase your luck and that sort of thing. I just don't really see much in there that is like, I this is new. Remember when Torchlight first came out? I was like, oh, they've got a pet, and you can send the pet to town, and it'll sell you stuff. That's smart. That's cool. Yeah, there's nothing like that in here that I've found yet, and so that's why I'm kind of a bit disappointed in it.
Yeah. So there was like people were complaining about it being, or like there was a big complaint when it first launched. I was like, it's too MMO-y, or it's too like mobile gamey, or people were like fucking mad about something.
I think the thing people were mad about is that initially reports were this was supposed to be a mobile game that was brought across to the PC.
Right.
And I think people get upset about that. I mean, you look at fucking Diablo Immortal, right? Like I've played that game, and I'll probably play that game when it comes out on mobile because it felt pretty good when I played it. But also, like people were fucking upset about that, right? And so I think that this is a similar thing where this was initially supposed to be a mobile game, and it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it to me. Sometimes this stuff translates okay. Like when Diablo was brought across to consoles, and they figured out how to do it, and they did it really well. So I don't actually know what the negative feedback is, apart from it just seems like something we've played before. Like, there's nothing new about it. That's my criticism.
Yeah, it's quite cartoony, which I guess traditionally ARPG fans have railed against. It's got a mixed review on Steam, which I mean, not always the best fucking indicator for this shit. But
I mean, that's hard. Can you see the graph at all? Because when it first launched, remember it came out and it was like broken.
Right. It's still pretty even now. I mean, there's more positive than there are negative now, but yeah, it's still pretty mixed. People are saying the enchanting system feels like it was built for microtransactions and not enough enemy variation.
Yeah.
Or tile set variation, like you were saying.
Oh, yeah, all the stuff I've said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's how much is this game?
56 Australian.
Yeah, no, that's a no from me.
Fucking hard no. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I saw you playing it. I'm like, maybe I'll jump in. I'm like, maybe I won't.
Yeah. Go play Path of Exile or something like that. It's a free to play game. You'll probably get more enjoyment out of it if you're looking for a dungeon crawler Diablo like style game, unless you've already bought this. In which case, if you enjoyed it last time, then jump in and check it out, because it is definitely a better game at this stage.
Yeah.
So that's good. It I didn't have any technical issues at all. It plays fine. It's just not really anything blowing my mind right now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that people will be surprised when at least Diablo comes out and they've tried to really change the mechanics behind that and do something different. So yeah, cool. That's Torchlight 3.
Yeah, it's it's a weird time for people who like fucking top-down games, eh?
Why?
That sort of isometric RPG.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, obviously, dramatically, desperately unfinished. Definitely not worth playing yet. Oh, it's coffee time. Thank you. Look at this, my wife. My wife! Look, she found that you could, like, order, straight up just order Boss Coffee off the internet. She bought, like, a fucking case of the things.
A slab.
A slab of fucking Boss Coffees. So, by the way, Suntory, if you'd like to sponsor the Gap, we take payment in Boss Coffee and Yamazaki whiskey. just keep that one in your brain there, Suntory. Anyway, yeah, like the old top-down RPG just hasn't been going well lately. Having a rough time of it, I guess. But it's not like there aren't older games that you can still check out if you got a hankering for it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Speaking of top-down games, Disc Room.
Yes.
Disc Room is why this podcast is coming to our patrons a teeny bit late, I suppose. The embargo for this is at midnight tonight. It is a top-down bullet hell dodge 'em up.
Yeah.
There's no shooting. It is purely about dodging death and sometimes deliberately not dodging death. We talked about it before. We previewed it ages ago, back when you were still allowed to go to preview events. And so that must have been like January
maybe last
or
year.
December or some shit. Yeah, maybe last year. Holy fuck. But yeah. It's basically the pacifism achievement from Geometry Wars turned into an entire fucking game, which I love to death. I think it's fucking. I always loved. I spent so much time blapping absolute belting cuts in the high school charts of Geometry Wars purely for pacifism, and yeah, I just think it's such a clever twist on the natural drive for violence that is built into games. You know, it's not to say video games make you violent, blah blah blah, but more that like by default, a lot of games rely on violent interaction as the primary source of interaction, and technically, in a game where
when you get hurt,
you are, yeah, where you are dying, like your primary interaction in Disc Room is still violent, but it is violence committed upon you as opposed to violence you are committing, which is a twist, right? It's not a particular, like, it's not fucking suddenly changing everything, but it is a specific twist on a trope of video games. And so yeah, I'm attached to the concept. So yeah, it is basic, like it's story light. You are a little person,
spaceman,
maybe an explorer, a space person, like going through these rooms, and each room has discs in it, and if the discs hit you, you die in a bloody mess. And your challenge is to open all the doors and get through all the rooms. And that is how it goes, basically.
I mean, the story is, because I just played it a couple hours before we started recording, but like a giant disc object appears next to Jupiter, and I think you're sent to go explore it and see what it's about. And that's, you get in there and there's like all these rooms that you're talking about, these death rooms that you got to try and work your way through. And there is, like you said, like it's very story light. There's almost like a comic strip style storytelling that's in there. It's telling you some sort of story as to what's going on, but
Like
it's
story wise, it'd probably, based on the amount of panels I've seen,
yeah,
you could probably fit it into like a 12-page comic book.
sure,
But it's like it utilizes the medium itself to increase your investment in the
yeah,
character. So it's quite clever. And yeah, the I guess at its core, it is a geometry wars style pacifism mode
yeah,
puzzle game
yeah,
where you are A, trying to solve the puzzle of each room, and B, trying to solve a grander meta puzzle that sees you need to uh, like accomplish certain tasks that aren't always clear
mhm,
in order to get through
yeah,
and open every door up.
more doors. It's like laid
Exactly.
out in terms of a grid, and you'll get into one room and it'll have like an objective. It could be something simple like survive for 20 seconds, and you're like, 20
Mm.
seconds ain't that long, and then stuff starts happening, and you're dead in like three, and like, all right, yeah, cool, let's try and figure this out
It's
then.
going to be complex. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
think
each
10
each
seconds is probably the
the
base.
yeah, the things you come up against for the most part are discs, blades, like what do you call them?
Sort of like.
Saw blades, and they're spinning around. But then you get into the next room, and there's a variation of it, and so you end up going through all these multiple rooms, and there's always a twist on it. Different types of blades that behave completely differently to the other ones, and they start introducing them together. And yeah, that's sort of the problem solving, the puzzle element of the game. Is it slowly gives you more and more ways to die, and you trying to solve like, all right, how do I not die? How do I survive as long as possible? And then complete the task that needs to be done.
Yeah. And those tasks switch things up on you as well. Like it's not necessarily how do I not die sometimes, because like there are a number of tasks that evolve like by the end of the game. I think it's like die to 60 different disc types,
Yeah.
which involves going into a room and deliberately searching out a specific disc and then kamikazing into it. And that is
Yeah.
fucking tough on
Yeah.
some of these levels. Some of these levels, I don't like. I've seen how far you are, and I know you're not quite up to one of these ones yet. But there's one where you have to survive for a certain amount of time before a disc will even spawn,
I
and
had one of
then
those. I think it was about 35, 40 seconds, and then it spawns in.
right. Okay, so I didn't see
Is it the gold one?
your time on it. Yeah,
Yeah, I've done that one. Yeah.
right. I didn't see your time on that one. Weird. The timing, it's got like every single level has a high score ranking on it,
Yeah.
and that provides sort of a meta reason for you to attempt certain levels. But it also, yeah, like allows you to track how your team, your friends are going,
Mm.
and it doesn't seem as accurate, or I just haven't seen like everyone's scores uh, that I expected to see from my friends list, because I know they're playing, but I don't like. I haven't seen your scores, your times on all the ones that. Well, specifically, I haven't seen your. I didn't see your time on the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
That could be just
um,
because I only just like played it.
I was literally, you were talking shit,
Yeah.
okay, before the podcast started, and I went and
Okay.
had a look, okay.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Because yeah, I
But
did smash you a bunch. It was disgusting.
fucking. Have you considered that some of these aren't meant? You're not supposed to go for anyway. Um, yeah, but like sometimes it is fucking rough trying to like deliberately hunt down a specific disc, just so you can fucking like kill it. Oh, die to it rather.
Mm.
And yeah, it's an intriguing challenge, because you know it sort of broadens the way you look at the game. Trying to find every new disc, trying to find every new room. It's clever. There are some challenges, like what Disc Room at its best is when it is doing that sort of thing. It's doing that very subtle puzzle solving where you're like trying to track as many aspects as you can, like trying to track as many elements as you can, right? You're trying to track, because what you're doing in Disc Room is essentially information gathering, right? At all times you are information gathering, and there are a lot of sources of information for you to gather from, which like ramps up the complexity. There is your position on the map, there is your position, like your position in the timeline, because time is one of those things that is very important for you. Like, and so you need to, if time is a line, there are certain points on that line where things will trigger, and so you're tracking that. You're tracking the discs in the room. You're tracking what they do, how they act, whether or not they simply bounce off walls, or if they will trend towards you, or if they spawn new discs, or whatever. If they can't be exploded away from you, or if they have an aura that slows you down, all these things, that's information that you need to track. You need to track like the challenge itself. The metrics of the challenge aren't always super clear. There are a couple that are literally get question mark from question mark, and you need to work out those two things. And it's sort of like that old board game Mastermind, where you would have 4 pegs on a board, and you would put them down and try to work out if they were in the right order, and then you would be able to tell very, very subtly if you had the right color pegs but not in the right order, and then you had to work out the order, and the entire time you're doing that, you're also tracking all these other things. And so there's a great deal of complexity in every single level. And then obviously there's a dexterity element, because it involves dodging shit at all times, and it can get extremely fucking hairy while you're dodging. And then eventually you get through each level, or you don't get it through each level. I'm still stuck on, there's one level in particular that has been driving me fucking bonkers, like absolutely fucking bananas. And holy shit, man, I've got such a problem with this level in particular, because it flies in the face, in my opinion. It flies in the face of everything else that the game does well. It looked to me, but now I don't know anymore. It looked to me like you were very close to this level, but you hadn't reached it yet. There is a level that is entirely pitch black.
I had a level that was the lights were going on and off.
On and off, yeah. The one next to that level, there's no lights, and you have to live for 10 seconds. And I will not mention anything about how you're supposed to do this, but I think it is see, that's the thing, right? Like, so I sat there for literally the 20 minutes before the podcast began, trying to live for 10 seconds in this level. And the good thing about Disc Room is that it loads super quickly, like really, like instantly, right? When you die, you can double tap A and you'll be back in the same level. I have done it by accident a dozen fucking times. There is a challenge where you have to beat 4 rooms consecutively. And if you double tap on one of the rooms, you have that. It doesn't matter if you just beat the time on it. You still have to fight. You have to do it again so you can beat the other 3 consecutively. It fucked me once, but that's entirely my fault, right? the point I'm making is that it does it really fucking fast, like super fast. You are straight back into a game. I love that in games where you die a lot, like Super Meat Boy or whatever. It's got that Super Meat Boy style, or Celeste or whatever. You're straight back in. So I spent 20 minutes trying to live for 10 seconds in a game where I can start the level again in under 0.1 of a second. And I would say on average, I lived 4.5 seconds, which I don't know what that fucking calculates to. I could fucking probably give it a punt. 4.5. Sorry, I should do 60. 60 divided by 4.5. 13 times 20. 266 attempts. Yeah,
it's a Dark Souls.
That sounds about right. Like fucking Dark Souls ain't got shit on 266 attempts.
Yeah.
The problem is that this one involves 0 dexterity, as far as I can tell. The information gathering is near impossible. And it almost seems like it's random chance. It almost seems like you could set up a macro to do it.
Do you have all the abilities?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm at the final boss.
All right.
There is one, apart from the room that this room unlocks a room, and there's one other room that will be unlocked. I need to do every unlocked room needs to have completed. I have to have lived for 10 seconds in every unlocked room, basically. Right. That's one of the unlock parameters for another room. And this is the only one I don't have 10 seconds in.
Right.
And I think it's a huge problem because it's random chance. If I were to set up a macro that would automatically press the start level button.
Yeah, like an AI.
Every 2 seconds. I think that it would inevitably complete it. And that might be the best strategy I have for finishing this level with my sanity intact. Because what I have been doing is measuring, right? Like measuring the only information that I have available to me, right? And in this level, because it's entirely a black screen, right? You can't see where you are, you can't see the discs, you can't see anything. The only thing you can see is the timer counting upwards. And because that's the only information I have to go on, I can only base like what I do next on that. And I found that if I do a certain thing, I actually took a screenshot of it and sent it to Devolver because I was fucking losing my fucking shit. But I needed 10 seconds. I got to 9.988.
Oh.
And I died. And holy absolute fuck, man. I was gonna fucking like if I were oh my god, if I were a Super Saiyan, I'd be fucking Broly. I'd be fucking wrecking everything. It was fucking bananas. Anyway, it was very upsetting. But like the problem is that it appears to be random chance because it doesn't it's not like I can repeat my actions. If I were to do the exact same thing over and over again, it doesn't produce the same results. And that makes it very difficult to work out what I'm doing incorrectly. If that makes sense, right? Like if I can't produce repeatable, so there's no scientific method to that because I can't find a baseline, right? If I start that level and I don't move at all, I found that 5 times out of 6, I will live for 3.5 seconds. and 1 time out of 6, I will die in 1.7 seconds.
Right.
And it's not always the same amount of time. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that information? You know, like what that says to me is that the disc movement is random, and by random chance, you can live for 3.5 seconds before the odds become essentially like 100% that a disc will hit you. That's the only thing I can fucking work out from it. And there are ways to influence that, but obviously I don't want to fucking spoil it because the game's not out, and learning that shit is part of it. But yeah, like considering the rest of the game is about using the information you've been given, it's very puzzling to me that this level in particular would deliberately not give you any information at all. And yeah, it annoys the fuck out of me. But that is a huge distraction. I feel like in terms of fucking in terms of words spent, I've spent probably as many words on this one level that bugs the fuck out of me as I have on the rest of the game, and that's just not fair.
It's a wall that's in the game that doesn't need to be there. Because you're someone who's persistent and will get through it, maybe figure it out. I guess we'll find out next week. But not everybody's got that patience, right?
Yeah. I'm going to brute force it 100%. I'm new to the game and I can just sit there and I've got a system. I got to 9.988. I can get to 10. It's fucking it's not even a tenth of a fucking second more. I can do it and I will. But yeah, like if there's a trick to it and I just don't know it because there's a dev time on it and they've got 23 seconds. If there's a trick to it, it's going to be fascinating for me because there is clearly, if there is a trick to it and I can't work it out, there's clearly some faulty reasoning at the basis of it. And I think it'll be a fantastic learning experience for me because it'll help me rethink how I look at information gathering. But as far as I can fucking tell, it's random and that's all there is to it. And that's annoying, disappointing. But yeah, it's so the reason I get stuck on it is because it's anathema to the rest of the fucking game experience. Because the rest of the game does it is like the fucking opposite of this one fucking room. The rest of the game does it all so fucking well. Yeah, there's RNG in the way the discs move and like what they do. Oh, not necessarily like what a disc does in every room is fixed, but there's RNG in the way they move and where they move and all that kind of stuff. Like there's definitely that, but it's all so manageable because you have enough information to actually get through it. It's just not something you can do in this one level. And it's disappointing because I was fucking locked in. There were other levels that I must have tried 100 times. I'd love to I can't see if you got like death stats or anything, but I'd love to see how many times I died on other levels. I'd be fascinated because there are some where I just kept dying and it didn't fucking matter because I knew like every time I died, I knew what I'd done wrong or I learned something new or like there was something I could take away. There was something I could bring into my next attempt. Whereas, like there was that one where I had to beat 4 in a row. Those were 4 mini boss fights. You had to successfully like finish 4 mini boss fights in a fucking row before you could actually like move on, and that's rough. That's a challenge, but I got through it eventually. It just took a little persistence. It took a little all you wind up needing to do is know every single like what each one does, and then like chart out a fucking course for yourself. You know, I went from hardest to easiest, obviously. But like even then, I'd spent so much time on the hardest one and the second hardest one that by the time I did one run where I did the first one perfect, second one perfect, third one perfect, and then the fourth, the easiest one, I hadn't been there for so fucking long that I died instantly because I had forgotten how that one played out. And I mean, I was upset, but I managed to do it like 3 or 4 attempts later, and I succeeded. It felt really fucking good. That's the great thing about dexterity-based puzzle games is that you feel good when you finally work out the trick, when you finally master the movements, and you finally complete the challenge. It's good stuff. Yeah. It's a good it's definitely a good game. I love the geometry wars concept of pacifism, and I think it does a really good job with it. I haven't finished it because I am I'm stuck on this one level. It's not even the last level. It's just I can't bring myself. I can see you can press start and you can switch. Like the start button is really useful because you can see, what levels still have discs that you haven't unlocked, and like what levels it does it like a yellow outline around any level you've gotten 20 seconds in and all this kind of stuff. I wish it did some sort of fucking icon for 10 seconds, but like you can see at a glance a lot of information just on the start screen alone, and you can switch between levels very quickly and all that kind of stuff. So I can see from the map that I'm very close to finishing this game. I've got, like I said, 2 more rooms to unlock.
Yeah.
And the last boss fight. And I just don't want to do the last boss fight until I've finish this fucking level. I'm gonna be so fucking mad if there's some fucking secret fucking power that you get after you beat the final boss that allows you to. Oh my god! I'm gonna.
Has anybody else got a time on the leaderboard for that level?
One person, and they got it like 8.6. Oh, the dev has 23 seconds, which I can't fathom. Which is the only reason why I'm worried that like there's some fucking power up you get where you can light up or some shit.
Or maybe it's like an actual, like it's a pattern. It's not random.
But it's definitely random. Like I literally sat there like for I don't know how many of my fucking deaths, literally just starting the level and doing nothing. And it's not the exact amount of time. It's always around 3.5 seconds. But then B, there are those times when it's 1.7 or 1.4 or whatever. I even tried to work out if there was a pattern in that. I've gone full down the fucking rabbit hole on this one, and there's no pattern that I can see. And
that's weird. It seems like it's, I don't know, maybe your game's broken. Maybe you...
Well, yeah, nobody else on my fucking list has beaten the fucking the level. If I see anyone do it, I'm gonna ask them. I'm gonna fucking ask them.
And they'll be like, the torch. Use the torch. You'll be like, what?
Just use the torch. I'm like, what? What the fuck is the torch?
Yeah. All right. I played about 25, 30 minutes of it so far. I'm enjoying it. Like you said, it's very good. It's out now. It's on Steam at the moment. By the time you hear this, it's available for free demo as well. Free demo download if you're not sure and you kind of want to go check it out. But it's pretty cheap. It's $14.99 US, which works out to be what, 18?
$20. 21.50 apparently.
Yeah.
I definitely recommend checking it out. At least play the demo. Just to get an idea of it. If you enjoy that style of game, you'll definitely get a lot out of this one. I played it for apparently 7.4 hours.
What?
And
Far out. Okay.
Yeah. 0.4 of those hours definitely on this one level. At least 0.4. Maybe 7 of the hours are on this one level. I don't know.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah.
Disc room.
Disc room.
There you go. What else we got here?
Disc room. I don't know. What else do we have?
It's all your stuff. Jackbox Party Pack 7.
Jackbox Party Pack 7 came out last week. Had Nate around and his girlfriend. We played this and got drunk, and it's good fun. I mean, if you enjoyed the Jackbox games, it's an interesting one because I don't think they necessarily go hit miss, but they've had some misses before. They've had some. I don't have Jackbox Party Pack 4, so I played it at Praetorian's house, and I thought it was garbage. But this one I would say is mostly pretty good. It just has it's got one game that I don't like at all, which is The Devils and the Details, which feels like I guess I should go through all the games first, right? It feels like a almost like they saw Among Us and tried to work out how they could do that on the phone when the primary viewing mechanism is on the TV, so everyone
and they had 2 weeks to make TV
it. And they exactly. You play this family of demons, and you move in to a house, and you have to accomplish a bunch of goals. And some people are trying to not accomplish the goals, and it just feels like it's too obtuse. I think it deliberately doesn't explain a lot, because I think if it explained everything, it would be too simplistic. So I picked it up and had 0 issues working out exactly what I needed to do on my phone. You click on the phone, and then it says you've got to ask someone else for some information, and they tell you the information, and that's about it. And if that were all there was to it, well, I think that is all there is to it. But because of the way it's described, people had the other people playing had a lot of trouble. It was, I'm doing this. Should I? And it's actually hyper simple, because there's no movement or anything. In Among Us, there's movement and stuff. So it's actually super easy to do. You just ask, if you all regimentedly work together, and one person just tells takes charge. But because everyone's doing their own thing, it becomes very difficult to understand or to understand what you're doing, and people are struggling to work out the information on their phone and stuff like that, and it just winds up being more complicated than it actually needs to be. And I think that's on purpose, because if you were to work out that it's actually very easy to do, then it would lay bare how simple and dull the game ultimately is, I think. Anyway, there's also Quiplash 3. So people there's how does it work? You're asked a question, right? They ask you, I don't know, Family Feud style shit or whatever. But the trick is to get everyone to vote for your answers, basically. So it'll be I don't know, things you'd say to a single mum or something, and then someone says some fucked up shit, and everyone laughs, and that's about it, right? Makes sense. It's cool. It's the 3rd iteration of one of the most popular games.
Yeah.
So,
is there anything that's changed to it, or it's just?
I don't think so. I don't really. I've never played a Jackbox game sober, So it's very difficult for me to remember all the details.
Yeah.
Like I find it very fucking rough, like remembering between the games. I just remember the ones I love. T Fury or uh, Murder Trivia Party. I
Yeah.
just remember that because I remember loving them.
So it's probably just
This
more
one has a drawing game.
categories.
Yeah, probably. This one has a drawing game called Champed Up, where one person draws like a hero, like a champion. It'll be like the champion of breakfast or something. And the other person gets given that picture, and they have to work out what like that picture is the champion of, and then draw their own champion as the underdog. And if the underdog wins, then like they get shitloads of points. But otherwise, yeah, they battle it out. They sort of do like a fight in an arena, and yeah, to see if the champion of breakfast can remain that way. And it's just it's a drawing game that's pretty goofy and just results in people drawing dicks, which always entertaining.
Classic.
Yeah. Then it's Blather Around, which I don't remember. I think it's like 20 questions. I'm just reading the description. I think it's like 20 questions. We did not enjoy this game at all. We played it like one round and we're like, let's never play that again. And so that one didn't go so well. And Talking Points is like a public speaking game, which is pretty weird. And it shouldn't work, but it winds up being pretty fucking funny. You're given a topic. Like at the start of the game, everyone writes down these topics. The importance of being, and it's like Mad Lib. So someone adds in whatever the fucking next word is. So it'll be the importance of being a cunt or something. And you get that as your topic. And then one other person is selected as your assistant. And what happens is you're doing like a PowerPoint presentation on the importance of being a cunt. And yeah, you're like, today I'd really like to talk to you about the importance of being a cunt. It's important for a lot of reasons, and then the assistant will put up the first slide, and the assistants get to pick what slide you're doing off of like a bunch of fucking pictures, like 8 pictures or something.
Yeah.
And the assistant's job is to like fuck you up, like to throw you off as much as possible. And so they'll pick a picture of like, I don't know, fucking eggplants or some shit, and you'll have to fucking dance around while a picture of eggplants is in your presentation. And yeah, it's like, it's dumb as shit, and it shouldn't work as well as it does. But I think like for a party game where people have been drinking, it works out pretty well.
Yeah, sounds good.
So yeah, like I don't know, Jackbox a party pack, like a Jackbox Party Pack with fucking 2 games you'll never play and 3 that you enjoy.
Sounds about right. Average
par for the course in my experience. Yeah, exactly. Like you're like, well, that sounds about right. So yeah, once again, not all winners. Definitely not all losers. If you're a fan of the series, I can see it. There's no trivia game, which I think might be a misstep. Generally, my favorite like of the series are the ones with the trivia games. So, which one has T Fury and Murder Trivia Party? That's the best one. That's easily the best of the Jackboxes. Let's see which one that is.
Is it 4?
No, it's not 4. 4 is my least favorite. I don't own 4. It's 3. Jackbox Party Pack 3.
Wow, is that all?
Easily the best of them. Far and away. T Fury. Oh, it's got Quiplash as well. Look at it go. It's got it all. Quiplash 2. But yeah. That's if you were to buy one Jackbox Party Pack, buy Jackbox Party Pack 3. But 7's not bad. Yeah.
All
That's it.
right. I've got 5 that I've played drunk, and I don't remember any of these games. That's good. All right, Jackbox Party Pack 7. Okay.
Which one did 5 have? Hang on, now I gotta fucking find which one.
They looked terrible.
It's got You Don't Know Jack, which is always good. Zeeple Dome's awful. Split the Room is kind of funny. It's like people like get prompts and they have to give answers, and then everyone has to guess who gave that answer. Mad vs. City is fucking hilarious.
That's the robot
where you make
one.
rhymes because the robot reads the rhymes out, and it's always funny as shit.
Yeah.
5's pretty good. 5's a pretty good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I reckon. Anyway. Yeah, cool. That's it.
Call of Duty.
Alrighty. Call of Duty. I gotta go to the bathroom. Be right back.
The ultimate Call of Duty.
Alrighty, I'm back.
Okay, we've got Call of Duty Warzone here. Is there anything to talk about in terms of Warzone, particularly other than the new Halloween theme?
No, I'll put it on here for the zombies, but I don't know if this happened to you, but has like the game gotten louder for you? I feel like the game's gotten louder. Me and Kleb were having real problems listening to each other yesterday. And me and Nate had problems too, but I think that was Discord. I don't know. But at the same time, I felt like I've had to fucking yell over the game sounds a lot lately. Or I definitely have to mute the game, press F10 if I want to be able to hear anyone while I'm flying a chopper, I can't hear shit. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird. It's a bit odd, but I definitely felt like I was yelling fucking JB and Frisco while we were playing it like yesterday, and I usually yell.
You can turn it up.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the game's louder than my so loud that I feel like I have to yell over fucking.
I am,
and that hasn't usually happened. And then when I watch shit back, I watch like our games back. You're talking like you're fucking like someone searched up ASMR on Pornhub or some shit. And you're like, yeah, guys,
because it's
there's a guy over here, and we're gonna have to take him out before we move on. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this shit?
Because usually when we're playing, it's very late at night, like 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, sometimes later than that, and so I have to talk very quietly so I don't disturb people.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because no, literally with the Halloween update, I felt like I had to yell over the game, and because I wasn't able to hear JB and Frisco either. And I felt like they weren't able to hear me. And I think the game has been like ratcheted up in terms of sound. Anyway, there's a I don't know, limited time event going on at the moment in Call of Duty Warzone. It didn't require an update.
They snuck it in.
Extremely weird. They made it so that you can uninstall the parts of the game that you don't want to play. Like, they've actually been making good changes to this game. It's crazy. Bananas to think about.
I think I posted this in the Discord, but I feel like I freed up like 192 gigabytes of my install. And that is, I can still play it. Like, I think I left a multiplayer, and because I still play multiplayer sometimes, I left multiplayer and Warzone on there and deleted everything else, and it freed up like 190 gigabytes. I was like, okay, fair enough. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's still trying to install shaders for co-op for me though, which is weird.
Got to install them shaders.
Co-op's not installed, but
it's still trying.
But yeah, no, that was positive. Yeah, didn't need to fucking download an 80 gig fucking like patch to make zombies work. And basically it injected a bunch of new cosmetics. I bought the hillbilly pack.
Oh yeah.
Because how would you not? It looks fucking amazing. And a limited time event. Well, 2. There's trios at nighttime in Verdansk. And then there's zombie trios, or zombie royale, I think it's called, where when you die, you become a zombie, and zombies can jump further and move a bit faster, and they can EMP to take out like
gadgets.
Gadgets, and they can throw gas grenades, and they don't suffer fall damage. And when you kill 2 people, you get 2 syringes. Sorry, you don't need to kill them. You just need to get 2 syringes. Once you got 2 syringes, you can then respawn back in with whatever weapons you had.
Syringes left on dead bodies.
Originally. Yeah, dead bodies drop these syringes. And they disappear when a zombie takes them, so they're not like an infinite resource. And you can holy shit, it is hectic, man. Like, you die, become a zombie, get your 2 syringes, and then like land, die, become a zombie, and you can just do that to keep cycling in. As long as you prioritize syringes, you can like keep coming back. And holy shit, man, like it feels like it's always fucking going. Like it's just
there's a reason to keep playing, which was the problem that Apex had. when they did their
Exactly.
Halloween zombie mode. People
Yeah.
just became a zombie and left because there was no reason to stay anymore.
Yeah, right? Like, and that ruined the game entirely. But this, like, you get to the end of, like, me and Kleb won a game with a rando. And, like, I don't know exactly how many players were still in the game, but there were a fucking lot. Like, loads of players still cracking through this fucking game nonstop. And it was fucking hairy as shit. Like, you don't know how you're supposed to get through that shit because it just keeps adding up and adding up, and you're like, I don't fucking know. Like, what? There's still fucking. How many do we have at the end of this game? There was still fucking like 30 people in the game when me and Kleb finished. Like, that's ridiculous. That's hairy as shit. That's high octane. And the way you win is you're the last human alive. Or your team has the last human alive.
Yeah.
And so we won this game by me spawning back. I was still floating in as a human spawn when Kleb managed to kill the last human, the other last human. And it just so happened at the same time that the zombies swarmed the second team.
Yeah. That seems like a little bit of a design flaw because to me, that. Like, I wonder how you fix that because you could potentially do what you did and just stay in the air.
You spawned so fucking low.
Right.
I could have been shot out of the air.
Oh, okay.
Like,
well, that's
100%.
fine. I was thinking like it's a proper.
It's not a proper drop. No way.
Spawn.
No.
Okay.
Like, it's actually bad in some instances because it's low enough that, like, if the circle ends near the dam, and we had a couple of games that did this, the drop is low enough that you might not actually get on top of the fucking dam. I had one yesterday. The game I won with Nate, where I died because I spawned back in as a human and I couldn't actually float over the fucking lip on the dam, and so I was destined to just die in the gas. I still killed a fuck ton of zombies because if you die as a zombie, you don't come back,
Right.
unless they buy you back in. But yeah, I killed, like, at the very least, you're still reducing zombie numbers. So I did my best to do that, but I inevitably died in the gas. And then I spawned back in as a zombie, and I was able to fucking body block for Nate for so fucking long because you can't attack other zombies, but you can stop them. Like, you can get in their way, you body block, and that worked phenomenally well. So yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, it's a good mode. I think they've done a really good job with it. They've thought it through all the way and solved a lot of the problems that I think often raise their head in zombie modes, in that people will just fucking quit if they didn't get the role that they wanted or anything like that. But yeah, it's good fun. Having a lot of fun with it, enjoying it a lot. I wish it was quads as opposed to trios, but yeah, it's good.
I'm wondering what happens once this event finishes and we get to the what's it called, Black Ops Cold War Warzone era, because obviously from what we understand, from what I've read and heard, is that Warzone will have a transition across to Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone will have a transition across to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Warzone, but it's still going to be the same core team working on Warzone that is now, and they're sort of going to incorporate bits and pieces from Black Ops Cold War. And so I wonder if the zombie element transfers in some way where they have it as a mode that pops up every once in a while, as opposed to it just being this Halloween themed thing. Because they've got a rotating playlist at the moment in Warzone where generally every week. I think they're rotating a different mode in and out, and so I wonder if that sort of pops in variations of it, because it seems pretty popular. Like, I've been reading about it on Reddit and was watching some streamers playing it, and everybody's having a good time with it. And it would seem like a weird thing for them just to make available for this 2 or 3 week period and then sort of disappear.
I would love to see it come back at some point. I don't think it should be a permanent one, but I'd love to see it like rotate in, like you said, here and there. And I think Black Ops Cold War has a zombies mode, and that's an excuse at the very least.
Yeah,
you could use it as a opportunity to promo a new season of zombies or some shit if you wanted. So that makes a lot of sense. I think that'd be good. Yeah, but I don't know. Do we want to use that as a segue? I would like it if they translated as little as humanly possible from Black Ops Cold War into any version of Call of Duty that I played, because I hated that fucking beta so fucking much. Oh my god. It was a train wreck, in my opinion. Did you have anything to say about Warzone? We had some fucking good wins. We had that fucking win in prison.
That prison win that I posted. That was dumb.
That was pretty funny.
I think we started in prison and it ended in prison. They're generally the only prison games I like, because they're a bit spicy. But the prison games where you start in prison and you have to leave prison are usually not fun, because you end up in fucking farm or in like downtown, and it's just a shit fight.
I like the fights in farm. I like fighting in farmland. I do not like fighting downtown. So I will agree with you there. If it's gonna end, like if it looks like the circle's probably gonna trend to the left, I could see an argument for not going to prison. But at this point now, I suggest prison every time it's viable, because you hate it so much. So what am I supposed to do? Like, the opportunity is there, Luke, to upset you, and that's what I live for. So yeah.
So yeah, this specific game you're talking about is one where we landed in prison. I think we won it. I can't even remember at the start, but then it ended up basically finishing on prison for the most part. And we held the video I put up went, I think it was like the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game, and we basically just sat on top of the towers in prison and we're just picking people off, like stopping them from coming in, and it was disgusting. Like, no one could get in.
You got 4K fucking damage or something. It was ludicrous. Like, you were slamming cunts. You got fucking, was it 10 kills and 4K damage or something? Like, yeah. You gate kept those motherfuckers so hard. Like, anyone out the front of the prison didn't have a fucking hope of getting around, because you were sniping the shit out of them. It was spicy as shit. It was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good win.
Yep.
But otherwise, I've been playing a bunch at night. Our night over here. Been jumping and playing a couple hours with the guys. Nate's got this new gun that they put out, a skin pack, which is, I think it's called that. It's like the 8-bit gun or something like that, or 32-bit gun, and it shoots like, it's like hot pink. And one of them is I think it's a P90, and the other one is an assault rifle. But the SMG is pretty good, and it shoots like pixelated bullets out, like bright pink pixelated bullets, and as they hit people, like pixelated blood sort of spurts out and bounces across the ground. The muzzle
flash is all pixelated.
Yeah, and then when it kills a person, it comes up, and I've only seen this like once or twice, because every time Nate's got it, we're trying to get Nate kills with this gun. The body sort of explodes and dissolves in little pixels, and it like flashes up like game over as they disintegrate. In like like original Tron, where they just kind of combust. It just looks so cool. It's such a, like, the skins they do in that game are just so fun. Like the tracer rounds that you see in some of them. Others are less fun, like the fucking flame shotgun. I'm so sick of that gun showing up every time Nate and I try and do anything in duos, and there's two guys camping in a house. Oh, we had one the other night that they would not leave this house. We went in there, and it turned out the guy had that flame gun and a sniper rifle, and that was it. And he just cooked us. We downed him like 3 times, and we were like, fuck it, we'll just push him. And we get in there, and he had this flame gun, and he just melted both of us instantly. Yeah, I hate that gun. But anyway, the actual cosmetic sides, they're always doing interesting stuff with those weapons. It still does feel
so
pretty pay to winning sometimes.
I was gonna buy that pack as well, and we got into a game while I was going through the transaction screen, and so it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then the next day, the fucking Texas Chainsaw dude was available instead. Leatherface was available. I'm like, I'll go him instead. His when he shoots people, their limbs get dismembered.
Right.
And he comes with the chainsaw fin and an MP5. So I've been using the MP5 because any excuse, that gun fucking rips. It's ridiculous.
They've got
zombies.
Sorry, go. Is it Jigsaw as well? I saw running around like the Jigsaw mask, the little the doll. He's in there. I don't know what he does, but these packs are a little bit too expensive for me. They're like 2,200 CP COD points, and for me that's like two months worth of battle or 2 seasons worth of battle pass. I don't know if I can part with that much CP at this stage.
I got gifted some points, so I'm like, may as well. But yeah.
Anyway, Warzone. Black Ops Cold War.
Black Ops Cold War
was the beta.
It is. So it was the beta. It just played like garbage. It feels like it feels like a cover of a song. Holy shit! You know what you should do is look up Courtney Love, Jeremy. Courtney Love, Pearl Jam, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone do this. That is the cover that it is. It's a cover of Call of Duty song, and in this case, it is Courtney Love's version of Jeremy. You're gonna shit. You are gonna shit. What a rendition of a song. Easily, I know there's a lot of debate about the best cover of all time. Johnny Cash, Hurt, or whatever the fuck. There's no debate here. That's the worst cover of all time, easily. And Black Ops Cold War feels like they understand. They've heard about Black Ops.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we could do this, but they have never touched a musical instrument before, and it feels like hyper budget.
I wonder if this comes down to the development issues that we heard about. We talked about a while back of
100%.
This is supposed to be Sledgehammer's game, right? And because Treyarch worked on 2018's was it Black Ops 3? Yeah, it was Black Ops 3 because they had that really good blackout mode. And
Blackout 4.
Yep. Sorry, Blackout 4. And then we heard rumblings about this game that's coming out now, and Sledgehammer was having issues with it. And so Treyarch was brought in to take over as to help with the development of it. So I wonder if that's just like they've only sort of had a year and a half to work on this game, and this is sort of them slapping things together and see how it goes.
Like that's how, if this is their, like Call of Duty goes through cycles. Good years, bad years. It's usually good year, medium year, bad year. Now they've switched to the 3-year cycle. It was good, bad, but Now they've got like a medium. This is the bad year. This is Ghosts or Infinite Warfare, or this is the bad year for sure. Based on what I played in this beta, this is the bad year for Call of Duty 100%. It feels so fucking janky.
It just
Like,
doesn't
half the
feel right. Like not the hit registration, but the impact of when you're hitting someone doesn't feel right. The audio doesn't sound anywhere near as good as what was in Modern Warfare.
which already had like fucking audio issues, and it's worse than that. The recoil on the guns, like 60% of the guns have zero recoil at all, and the other ones are being fucking shot by Michael J. Fox or some shit. Like, it is bananas, the difference between these fucking guns. You pick up a fucking M4 without any attachments, and it's a fucking laser. It's like a growl that has all the attachments or some shit. And then you can actually put fucking 8 attachments on a gun in Cold
So it's
War.
like all of them.
You can put them all on. You can make it so that like recoil was a complete thing of the past. And then, but you pick up a fucking AK and it's trying to shoot behind you or some shit. You're like, oh, I don't fucking know where it's going to fucking fire. It's just fucking, it does whatever it wants. It's not up to me anymore. The gun does what it likes, and I simply carry it. It's ridiculous, the difference between those guns. And that doesn't even fucking get me, like, holy shit. The shotgun, the Spaz 12 or whatever they called it in Cold War, is honestly one of the dumbest fucking guns I've ever experienced in a game. It is so brutally overpowered. You kill people in 2 shots. Half the time you can kill people in 1 shot because it still does the bullet spread accidental headshot shit. I was literally killing people from like ranges that they were shooting at me with an SMG, and I'd just fucking spam at them with the shotgun, and they would die before I did. And there was nothing they could do about it. It's a fucking automatic shotgun with 9 rounds. You can kill people in 2 shots. I literally team wipe with a fucking single clip or a single tube or whatever the fuck it is you call on a shotgun, which is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. And that's one of the shotguns. There's another shotgun I didn't really use all that much. It's a pump action. It still fucking tears. It rips up. Like, how is that gun in the game? I literally, until I reached the point where I unlocked the shotgun, I played as there was like a pre-built class that came with a burst fire M16 and the shotgun, and I played with that. And it's like, despite the fact that I hate burst fire guns, it didn't fucking matter because I just ran around with a fucking shotgun out and murdered everybody. It was idiotic. I didn't need to do anything. Like, there's enough mobility in Call of Duty now that you can just slide up on cunts and get into a range where they can't do shit. And if you can't get into that range, like, there's enough cover. They're not doing 3 lanes. They're doing the fucking honeycomb map design in Cold War. And so you just find a corner. Like, if it was a lane, then they would have you trapped in the lane. And that creates engagement rages. But in this, no, you just loop around a fucking little, like a tiny wall or a sand dune or some fucking car or some shit and turn around and blap them. And they die every single fucking time. There's nothing that you could do. And like, that was the default version of that shotgun. I didn't have any attachments or whatever the fuck. It just ripped cunts up. So dumb. Ridiculous. I think like they had a mode called Dirty Bomb, which is basically plunder, but worse. Like, they heard how popular plunder is in Warzone, and they're like, well, we've got a mode like that. And by the way, nobody on our team has played plunder, so we've somehow made it worse. I don't like plunder at the best of times. It's basically one of those modes you play when you're trying to level up weapons. But holy actual fuck, this is so much worse than plunder. At least in plunder, you can call in a chopper wherever the fuck you are. Like, upload your fucking money from there and score points like that. Nah, in this there are, I think it was 6 A, B, C, D, E, F. Or was it E? I don't know. 5 or 6 fucking locations on the map where you have to go in and you put in uranium into this dirty bomb, and then after a set amount of time, you activate the bomb, and then you get a bunch of points. The bomb explodes, you get a bunch of points.
Yeah.
And
it like gasses out the area.
Yeah. They're fixed locations on the map, like locked in locations on the map. There's nowhere else. Like you can only go to these locations to turn in, and it's a shared fucking goal. So me filling up the fucking bomb with all my uranium, right? I still have to activate the bomb. Otherwise, you could kill me after I've done all the work and then activate the bomb, and you get the lion's share of the fucking points, which is like just dumb as shit in a mode where eventually, like 90%, like after 4 of the fucking bombs have gone off, there's only one fucking location left. And so it just turns into a giant shit fight. It's just a non-stop fucking clusterfuck of everyone balling into this one location.
Just trying to hit a button. Because it doesn't matter if you've put 90% of it in. If someone hits that last thing, then they win on the other team.
Yeah. And like, there's not enough options for getting around the map. There's no viable way. Like, you can find a fucking ski mobile or whatever, snowmobile, right? And like, that's halfway decent, but you're so easily shot off the fucking thing. So if you finish at A and the next one's at E, or the only one left is at E, you then have to trudge all the way across the fucking map just to get there. There are fucking kill streaks. Every kill streak is found in a fucking crate. So like 12 seconds into the fucking match, someone has a fucking chopper and nobody has the fucking means to do anything about it. So that thing just rips everyone up. While they like the team that got lucky and found that thing does whatever the fuck they like. Like it's just fucking so cool.
I think it's a good idea. The execution of it is not well done.
Abysmal.
Yeah.
Woeful. I got through, I think, like 1 round before it, like, the server dropped out, or my game crashed, or like something shit its pants. At one point, I got like into a situation where I couldn't click on anything anymore, so I couldn't respawn. So yeah, that was that.
Well, we were having problems with the parachute system. We couldn't cut our line, and so when we were parachuting, we would just slowly drop. And it's not like where we could angle our parachute to go down or anything. So we were just basically sitting in the air for 30 or 40 seconds. It was busted. But I think they've got issues with some of the maps. Like I like the Moscow map. I think that one's interesting. Miami was one that I didn't get a chance to play. But the rest of them that I did play, I didn't really like at all. I think Crossroads needs to be changed. That like frozen lake area something needs to be done about that area. It's too open. There's no reason you should be at that area. It's dumb.
That map is something that they would have made in like Battlefield 1942. 20 years ago, they would have made that mistake, the mistake of that map. Even then, they probably would have made it fucking less of a mistake than it is.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that map.
There's no reason to go through that lake. I mean, you could you could just camp it. Like, it's just dumb. It's bad design.
It's literally just a sniper alley.
Yeah.
Because you can't run across it without getting fucking picked off from about 100,000 different locations.
Yeah. It's better off going down the little valley, and that, like, there's cover and all sorts of stuff down there. So it just seems really silly. And then Satellite is the other one that I played a bit of, and I think that's a bad map. It's got issues with its visual style, like being able to recognize silhouettes of enemy players. It is so hard to see people anywhere in that game unless they're on the sand. Then you can see them, but otherwise, if they're up anywhere else in that map, in the rocks or near the crash, I was going to say plane, but it's satellite. The crash satellite. It's so hard to see anything in that game. Like, that map is just, there's just noise everywhere. I don't know if that's just me, but that's just my feeling that
No,
I had. It was hard to distinguish
that's
objects.
all of that's Cold War to a T. It's
Mm.
just visual noise all over the fucking place, and they've tuned the fucking aim assist,
Mm.
so that, or it's not aim assist, it's fucking aim lock. It's
Yeah.
fucking auto aim, not aim assist. Aim assist sort of helps you out. Like auto aim does it for you, and that's what's happening in fucking Cold War when you're playing against console players. I watched a sniper on PlayStation, literally on that fucking what's that map where it's like a farm or some shit, whatever the fuck that one's called. I don't know. It was
Didn't play
shit.
it, I don't think.
It was a shit map. But like there were like in the middle there was a bunch of like bushes, but he was able to fucking quick aim, quick scope, and the auto aim would lock onto targets that when you watch the kill screen, he literally couldn't see, right? But it didn't matter because his game was fucking aimbotting for him. Holy shit, how? How do you do this? How do you make that work? Oh, Christ. So you were dying to a dude with a one-shot sniper who you couldn't see. Like, never. It's not like you could see the glint of his fuck because it was obscured by a fucking farm. Like, Christ.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't even then. Like everyone on the everyone can be whatever the fucking character model they want to be, and there's no way to distinguish. So if you're wearing, if you're like some beardy dude wearing bright white, and I'm some beardy dude wearing bright white, and we're on different teams,
Yeah.
our teammates have to wait for our fucking names to come up before we can shoot you because we look identical to someone on our team, or they just shoot and, you know, there's no friendly fire. So they just start shooting and then waste some ammo when they realize that you're on their team. It's
Right.
so fucking dumb. Holy shit.
Yeah.
What's that map called? It's driving me nuts. Cold War maps.
Is it
We play
Cartel I've got up here?
Cartel, that's the one. Holy shit. We played a game of domination on Miami, where we like literally spawn camped, and it wasn't like we we've been dicks about it, obviously, but it's domination, right? If you want to win, you lock down 2 of the points, and then you know where they're going to spawn, and you just fucking murder them as they come in. And that's all we did. That's all we had to do. We pushed up just close to C, and we just fucking murdered them. Like, yeah. I think the most interesting thing that happened on the map was JB was raging because we had like a 4 stack, and our 5th player was a rando who kept trying to take C. And JB was like losing his shit at him because he's like, fucking stop trying to take C. Which, to be honest, yeah, fair enough. Stop trying to take C, for fuck's sake.
Right.
So yeah, that terrible.
Just seems like a bit of a mess.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's Treyarch's fault. Like we know they can make good games. We saw them do it with Black Ops 4, 3, 4 with Blackout 3, and the zombie mode in that, and the I just feel like this is a time constraint, just not having enough time to do something. Because you look at even the main menus in the UI, and you compare that to what looks like in Modern Warfare, and it's just like night and day difference. The level of detail in how it's laid out and what it looks like is completely different. Looks like a I don't know, like a blank slate they started with, and they kind of just slap something together and we're like, all right, that'll do. It's just really strange to me. But hopefully, like, I'm not really in it for most of those modes. Like, I'll check out the zombie stuff and I'll keep playing the Warzone multiplayer as long as they don't screw that up. So yeah. And I guess I'm interested to see what the single player is, because I think that was Raven working on that with Sledgehammer, right? So that was probably along the way somewhere. So yeah, I don't know. we'll see. Any other thoughts on that at all?
Nope.
No.
I hated it, and I will play Warzone, and that's about it. They're gonna have to fucking. I'm worried that I'm gonna hate Warzone because of that shotgun. That shotgun is going to be so fucking goofy in a Warzone where you've got only Cold War, only weapons from Black Ops Cold War. It's going to be absolutely.
I don't think they're going to ditch those weapons. I think it's.
You reckon they're going to keep all the other weapons?
Yeah.
Yeah? I hope. I fucking hope. Because it's like the Jack 12 jacked up to 12. Like, the Jack 12 is pretty bad. This thing is so much worse. It fires faster. It seems to have more random spread. It just fucking. Yeah.
I think it's Infinity Ward still working on Warzone, and they're just taking elements from that other game. I feel like that's what I've read. So
yeah.
We shall see. Anyway, yeah, not a good first impression. I think the beta for that is still running over the next week or two. And at some stage, it could be either this week or the next, they're opening up to everybody, right?
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I thought it was just last weekend.
Or was it? I thought maybe I was wrong. Extended, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can't see any dates here. Anyway, that's about as much research as we do here. So
that's how we do. That's how we roll, baby.
We should do some news where we've done a bit more research, don't you think?
Yeah, and definitely do more research in the news section. Let's go.
There's a lot here. Let's kick things off with the PlayStation 5 UI reveal. We know what it looks like now. We've seen it.
Some impressive shit in this, eh?
What's that?
Picture in picture. Some impressive stuff going on in this UI. Like,
yeah, they went through a lot.
Picture in picture and like the sharing stuff, the like party chat and all that stuff. They've expanded that, and I reckon they're doing like
in-game guides.
Yeah.
Some sort of achievement system, like challenges.
Yeah.
Which that'll be, I guess, interesting to see what third-party developers do with that, if anything at all, as opposed to it just being a first-party thing. Like, that's something the Sony team does, and that's about it.
Yeah, like it's I've never really cared all that much about UI reveals, I guess, because at the end of the day, I'm 100% about the games. But if like I don't know, I didn't think much of the fucking PlayStation 3 or 4. I didn't think they were particularly user friendly. You sort of needed to know what you were doing to get the most out of them. This one looks like it's a bit easier to work out from the get-go. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see, get our hands on it. But yeah, like you used to have to you'd go left and down and right, and then you'd be in the store or some shit. You go up, left, up. I don't know, down, up, left, right, fucking AB or some shit, just to get into the fucking hard drive storage area or whatever the fuck. And you're like, I don't fucking know. I just want to delete some games. But yeah, that doesn't appear to be the case here, which is good. I made a video. They showcased how easy it is to switch games. And I made a video because they switched to Destruction All-Stars, and they're like, this is how easy it is to get into a new game. And we're just going to speed this up because we're all about the UI today. They sped up through, I believe it was fucking almost 90 seconds of game. They sped it 33 times the speed. So I blew that out to its regular because it had a countdown timer from 40. And so I could pretty easily just speed adjust that in Premiere. And yeah, about 33 times the speed. which is crazy. It's so fast that it actually skips frames. Like there are frames that you just never see. There are seconds that you just never see, which is bananas. But anyway, apparently that was enough to stake my claim as a card carrying member of the Xbox army, because I've gotten a number of pretty nasty messages from PlayStation fans who are upset with me trying to slander the Xbox by speed adjusting a video. Huge. Anyway, also pretty funny because I'm
they did it first.
Right, they did it in the first place. I was just readjusting. It's also funny because, like, I'm obviously not an Xbox fanboy. I don't know. It's just weird how they work. You know, like they're like, oh well, this one piece of evidence is enough for me to condemn you forever. And it's like, all right, well, like
you send them your Halo reviews.
Yeah. Like, yeah, on one hand, I don't know who you are and I don't care what you think. But on the other hand, it's just not true. Like, come on.
There's people out there that still think that. But yeah, I like what they showed here. There was some good stuff. And I mean, you look at pushing sort of the next generation forward and what, like, we've seen what the games can do and what the hardware can do, but like what things in the actual OS will make our lives easier or stuff like that. And I think Sony has come out and showed a bunch of that stuff. With the like picture-in-picture mode, or like if you and I are playing a game for pre-release and we're trying to work something out and we can't do it, or like we're trying to write up guides or something like that, like we can call each other and have our games in the corner. We can see what we're doing, and like that sort of stuff is really interesting and neat. It's not like I'm not saying that's just specifically for media, but like that's a solution to things that would be a lot harder to do. And so you could do that with a lot of things. You know, if you're trying to get past a part of it in a game because you're not very good at it, and you need me to come in for me to watch your screen, right? Like that is one way of working around that stuff. So they're like solving those problems and coming up with interesting ways to get around it. And picture-in-picture mode is one way. Yeah.
Did they come up with the problem of you never eating spaghetti and Skittles, or
not yet?
Is that not? No, science still hasn't devised a way.
No.
Anyway, it's a cool looking system, and I can't wait to get my fucking mitts on it.
I've always liked the Sony UI more than the Xbox one. I always get lost in the Xbox one whenever I fire it up. I'm like, all right, how do I start this game?
I think I spent so much time in the Xbox UI that it's sort of very second nature to me. I think, the original Xbox UI was then evolved into the XBMC UI, which I used for fucking ever. And obviously I modded the shit out of a shit ton of Xboxes. But then, the Xbox 360 design was very clearly an evolution of the Xbox. And I think, the Xbox One departed quite significantly. But I think just based on the sheer amount of time I spent in the Xbox and Xbox 360 UIs, I'm far more familiar with it. And I definitely think it was a mistake to use the PlayStation AI philosophy for the PSP and PS Vita. I'd never really understood how they came to that conclusion, because it worked on a TV, but it didn't work on a tiny screen well. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it feels like they're going to do more of these reveals, because they only talked about the games section at this stage, and we haven't seen the rest of it. Like the media is obviously a big part of that UI and everything else that's in there. So it feels like they're going to drip feed this for a while. I mean, people have been clamoring for this UI reveal, and it's not like they're clamoring so that they can sell more consoles. At this stage, they can't sell more consoles. Like they've already sold them all. So it's just that people being thirsty for more content. So yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, moving on.
Nice.
Next up, we got some Cyberpunk news. Turns out that Keanu Reeves isn't just a part of the. He's not just a character in the game, but he's working on the game development side as well. His motorcycle company Arc is collaborating with CD Projekt Red to have a custom bike in Cyberpunk 2077, and so they have basically given CD Projekt a design of this bike, and CD Projekt has taken that and they've put it into the game, and in doing that, Keanu Reeves' company has also done things like recorded audio, like the sound of the bike revving and driving around, and like working on the like a production bike to hand over to CD Projekt as well to get incorporated in the game. So this is kind of a collaboration that is extended more than just his acting skills, but also bringing his own personal hobbies and companies into it as well. Did you get a chance to watch this at all?
I did watch it. Liam was saying that, yeah, it's a clever way to get, Keanu to side promote it, to get extra promotion out of Keanu. Everyone loves Keanu.
Yeah.
I agree that it's certainly clever. I'm not a fan, though. I'm not a fan of this. It feels too much like fucking Ride with Norman Reedus for me.
That felt like more of an ad, like a promo, as opposed to like
how the fuck is this not an ad?
I mean, they've put more work into it.
Have they?
Yeah.
Have they though?
I mean, he's riding around on his bike, he's recording it with a little fucking boom mic and giving them plans and designs of this bike, and he's probably said, yes, that's okay, we'll do that. Whereas Norman Reedus is like, just give me my money and put my ad on the fucking toilet.
And they had enormous penis fucking ride bike as well.
But did he record the audio for it?
Maybe nobody cared to watch that shit because Death Stranding was fucking awful. Maybe that's what happened. I'm just saying this is I find this to be kind of on the nose. But, as the future spirit vessel body for Keanu Reeves, I'm sure that, whatever your fucking current soul... I don't really understand. Are you you're a Horcrux for Keanu Reeves, right? That's how it works or something?
Yeah.
I don't really understand the wizard world that you guys live in, but yeah. Obviously you'd be about it because you're naturally predisposed to love Keanu Reeves things. Hey, we've spoken about Bill and Ted on this. Bill and Ted 3. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think we have. Yeah.
But is it just me, or does Keanu Reeves look like the fucking frumpiest loser when he doesn't have a beard? Right? He looks awful without a beard. That man.
I think it's because of the long hair.
The long hair and like the 1.5 chins. This is why I've got facial hair all the time, because I got 1.5 chins as well. And maybe that's my problem. Maybe it's my insecurities.
Yeah.
And Keanu Reeves is too cool to
see
care about such
yourself reflected into him.
That's what it is. That's his special power, obviously. Yeah. That's why he's such a fantastic actor.
Cyberpunk 2077 out in less than 1 month. It's on its way very soon.
Yep.
All right.
You might say it's crunch time.
Could be.
I'm still not making jokes about that.
Could be. Next up, we've got some Valve news. This one comes from Valve News Network, who reported that Gabe Newell will be meeting with the New Zealand Prime Minister to see if they can work out some sort of deal to move Valve's production teams, or part of them, to New Zealand. So this was, we've known for a while now that Gabe Newell is down in New Zealand, got stranded there during the coronavirus outbreak, and has been working there ever since, for months now, a really long time. And he's done all sorts of appearances down there on network television. He's hosted gigs down there for charities and that sort of thing. It's made the news. But this one comes from a town hall with Jeff Keighley and I think it was Phil Spencer that were in this one, and
Yep.
people recorded the conversations, but they're not allowed to post them anywhere. So this is where this news is coming from. Since then, some media outlets have followed this up with Gabe, and he has come out to say that's not true. The only part of it that is true is that he'll be seeking permanent residency in New Zealand to try and, I guess, live there a bit more permanent.
And why wouldn't you?
Yeah, so in response to this, Valve News Network has come back out and said that like they have recordings of this statement. And I'll read it out here while I've got it. May as well. It says, this is from Gabe Newell. It says, because I've been on this pro New Zealand campaign, I'm probably going to be meeting with the Prime Minister. And one of the positions I'm going to be arguing for is that given that there has been something super valuable that has been created here in New Zealand due to the hard work of the population of New Zealand, there is likely a large want to temporarily relocate. Am I reading this wrong, or is this fucking translated wrong? There is likely a large want to temporarily relocate production teams into this country. So that was where that came from.
Is he like from a fucking Dickens novel or something?
Yeah.
Like fucking Jane Austen or something? It makes sense that a man should want to move his production team to New Zealand.
So they've basically come out and said, we can't post this, but we've got audio of it. So there you go. I mean, it could be a bit of Gabe backpedaling a little bit to be like, oh shit, like everybody back in Seattle is freaking the fuck out because I've said we're moving production down here. Yeah. That sort of stuff.
Gabe, are we moving to fucking New Zealand? Because I don't want to fucking move to New Zealand. Hey, shit at cricket. That's my theory that everyone in Valve hates New Zealand because that's why they made the sniper an Australian.
Yeah. What do you feel like thoughts on this? What is kind of your inkling? Does it feel like some backpedaling, or he's trying to keep things a bit low key?
Yeah, I got the feeling that he was sort of just spitballing ideas, and it's been blown up in something much larger than it should have been. Because I think that's I am not subscribed to these town halls or whatever the fuck, but as I understand it, it sort of functions on I remember when we went and saw Dread, and Carl Urban was there. And Carl Urban came out to do a Q&A, and he said before the Q&A, he was like, all right, we can do two kinds of Q&A. I can do a Q&A where I give you all the answers that they want me to give. Or I can do a Q&A where I give you my real answers, but nobody can record this. There can't be any recording. And it was for a popcorn taxi. And so they agreed to turn off all their cameras, and everyone was not allowed to record it or whatever the fuck. And he gave proper, honest answers. He's like, I don't know if there'll be a Dread 2. I'd love for it to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Hollywood's pretty fucking shit at these kinds of movies. That kind of thing. He was fucking brutally honest. And he said some stuff that he probably shouldn't have, and some stuff that I'm sure he was probably just having a specky at. And I'm sure that's what's happened with Gabe, is that the agreement with these fucking town halls is that people are allowed to ask whatever they want, and they will sort of talk off the cuff and say some stuff that perhaps they shouldn't have. It's like if they were to come on the Gap, right? If they were to come on the Gap, all I do is say stuff I probably shouldn't say, and then you record it and you put it up. But nobody cares what I say.
You could ask Eric about his night out cruising in Sydney that time.
Ask Eric Johnson.
And he'll be like, I don't remember that. You'll be like, you were hammered, Eric.
You were so drunk. No, we don't make those jokes anymore, remember? So they're no longer funny. They're just depressing. But anyway, I think he was probably spitballing, and he's walking it back, and I think it betrays confidence has been betrayed, and this will ruin.
I wonder if it's a part of. I don't know who was hosting these town hall meetings, but from what I gather, reading about it, is that reporters were allowed to summarize or like take quotes out of it, but they weren't allowed to post the entire thing somewhere. So in saying that, I don't know if they were warned. Yeah.
You wind up in a situation where like context gets stripped, right? Like there's no doubt a bunch of context around what Gabe was saying that has been stripped because they're prohibited from posting verbatim what was said. This is like with me and we weren't allowed to directly quote about the Valorant reveal, right? We had to summarize. I didn't wind up doing anything with it because nobody fucking cared. But in the presentation, they described Sky, the new character Sky's animal, as a wolf, like straight up. Oh, she has a wolf that she can send out, and she has a hawk. And I believe someone must have asked, "Hey, there's no fucking wolves in Australia, right? Like, I mean, there might be some in a zoo or something, but it's not an animal that's native to this country. Why would eco-warrior Australian Sky have a spirit animal that's a fucking doesn't exist in our country?" And then suddenly when they announced it, it was a Tasmanian tiger, which had been planned as a fucking cosmetic skin for the wolf.
They switched it because people were like, we don't have fucking memorable hawks or wolves. And they were like, shit, no one told us that. Like,
and this is the same week that Riot decided to shut down the Australian League of Legends League. So,
and offices.
It might, and offices. It might kind of look like you just don't give a fuck about like anything Australian. Like maybe it looks like that. Fucking pricks. Anyway, we weren't allowed to directly quote them, and then by the time, it became anything, they managed to fucking. That was a backpedal. That is some tap dance shit.
Right.
And you'll notice that I didn't directly quote all of the words. All I said is that they called it a wolf. But I do have the recording, and I can back it up. Anyway,
I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if he admitted that yes, he's seeking permanent residency. Would not surprise me if he decides to start up a studio down there or something like that.
Yeah,
and potentially puts out some feels back home in Seattle and says, "Does anyone want to come out and lead this team?" Gabe has not been part of development at Valve for a long time. He's obviously a massive key stakeholder, and he makes a lot of big decisions, but he's not out there making huge design decisions or anything like that. So, I mean, he could ask people up there, producers, if they want to head up a team and then start fielding developers down there to come work for it. And maybe they start working on some small game. I don't know, implement them into something else. I don't really... Like, we've heard all about how Valve runs their sort of studios and people kind of just go off and do their own things. But it'd be interesting to see that he sort of decided to do that. And I think obviously we're just spitballing here again, but that'd be a huge boost for this region, Australia and New Zealand.
The region's development scene, that'd be pretty fucking cool.
Yep.
All
right, next up, we've got some Horizon Zero Dawn news. I talked about this game a couple weeks back when it launched on PC, and one of the big problems I was having, and I wasn't sure if it was going crazy or not, but there was some problems with the movement system. In particular, Aloy felt like she was running a bit to the left or right whenever I was trying to move forward. And I ended up creating a video for this, and I put it up, I think when the game went live, because I think I had a review build or something like that. And I think I talked to you about it on here, but I put it up on my YouTube page. It got a couple thousand hits on it, bunch of comments, and people noticing the same thing. And since then, I think maybe end of last week or a couple days ago, a new patch has rolled out, and one of the changes in there is they've corrected the movement system. They fixed it. The wording that I saw, and I'll read it out to you. It says gameplay improvements, Aloy forward walking direction. And it says Aloy now works directly towards the direction the camera is facing when you press forward rather than at a slight angle. So that's exactly
It's exactly what you were accusing
what I was talking about. But the thing that surprised me was that I didn't see anyone talking about this on like any of the reviews or websites that put up stuff about this, which is why I thought I was going fucking bonkers. And the only thing that I could think of as to why that was happening is that people were playing with a mouse. I was playing with a mouse and keyboard, and other people were playing with a controller. But I was still noticing it with the controller. Like it was there, but it was a bit easier to adjust with because you can have those micro movements with a controller, with the analog
Maybe it's
stick.
one of those glass shatter things where if you start with a controller, you can never notice it. You just sort of, you can feel that something's not 100% on.
Yeah.
But if you start with a keyboard and mouse, it's so obviously off.
Yeah.
That like because you just press W, you just figure, oh, maybe I've got some fucking I don't know joystick drift or some shit. Maybe Nintendo fucked up this controller as well. But yeah, on keyboard you're literally just pressing W. There's only forward input. There's no like possibility of a degree or two change. And so yeah, maybe it's a glass shatter thing.
Yeah. So I like to think that I helped in that issue. I did fire it back up the game, and it is much better now. She walks in the direction that I'm facing. So if I look at a tree or something, or maybe at a person hit forward, she starts running in that direction. And it's not doing that weird thing as much where the camera is sort of like floating to different sides, and as that's happening, that's also affecting the direction of her movement. So whatever they did is definitely alleviated that problem, which is good. Next up, we've got some Blizzard news in terms of them ending their content development for StarCraft 2. Going forward, they'll continue with seasons and any necessary balance fixes that are urgent. So this means that like no more like StarCraft 2 development is
maintenance mode
done. Yeah, I mean StarCraft's been out for a long time.
It has. What has it been like? Fucking 6 years, 7 years?
StarCraft 2. I feel like it's on close to 10, 9.
Really? Holy shit! It's
2010.
That is 10 and a half. Fucking, that's crazy. That's awesome. Well done. What am I thinking of then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Diablo.
Maybe the last expansion.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, that's rad. Well done for keeping it alive for as long as they did. It's obviously, a very beloved game by a lot of people. And yeah, keeping it going for 10 years. I mean, maintenance mode doesn't mean it's dead. It's not like fucking they're taking it out the back. It's not Heroes of the Storm or something. It's just no longer
massive
development, right? And they'll just keep it working for as long as they can, which is cool. If you're still playing StarCraft 2 and you think it's it's the game you want to play, then I don't know that you necessarily did. I mean, it's got all the tools required for the community to do a lot of that anyway, so I think that's very, very cool.
Yep.
Well done.
Next up, some sort of related news. Former Blizzard developers have created a new studio called Frost Giant Studios, and they will be focusing on an RTS game. Interesting. We've obviously talked about this recently as well. Another Blizzard former employees went and started their own studios, so it seems like a lot of people have left Blizzard from those eras. But a couple notable names here. We've got former production director on StarCraft 2 and Command & Conquer Generals 2. We've got a former game director of Wasteland 3 and a lead campaign designer on Warcraft 3, The Frozen Thorn. We've got a former senior program manager at Blizzard Esports. former lead artist on StarCraft 2 and principal artist on Diablo 4. We've got former lead designer on StarCraft 2, former lead co-op designer on StarCraft 2, former gameplay engineer on StarCraft 2, former server engineer on StarCraft 2, and a former publishing lead and senior writer at Blizzard, and author of 2 New York best-selling Times novels. So it's about, I don't know, 10 people with basically Blizzard backgrounds heading up this new studio. Does that kind of interest you at all? Or do you feel like RTS is sort of a genre that maybe is a bit done?
I am pretty famously not good at RTSs. So it's hard for me to be terribly excited because I enjoy being good at things more than I enjoy not being good at things. But I don't think I think it's due. I think RTS as a genre is due for something to reinvigorate interest. And I think that if this doesn't get people interested, then that might be the final nail in the coffin. You know?
Right.
What about you? What are you thinking?
First of all, I think I said Frozen Thorn, and it's Frozen Throne. I can't remember, but I just feel like I said that. Yeah, for me, I'd have to. I don't know, man. Like, it's been a long time since we've seen a good RTS that's not like here's a remaster or like a rework, or like that genre has pretty much moved across to like the MOBA scene and different sort of stuff. So it's hard to tell, like, what does an RTS look like these days? Like a good one, at least, that'll attract people. So I don't know. I'd have to wait and see. But there's some big names behind that, and it'll be interesting to see what they can come out with. So I'm sure we'll keep track of that one as we get forward.
Yeah.
Next
It'll be
up,
interesting to see the development progress.
Yeah. Next up, we got AOC's debut Twitch stream is one of the biggest ever on the platform. This was yesterday, last night. The Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez hit about 435,000 viewers at peak in her debut Twitch stream, alongside a bunch of other notable streamers, including another Congresswoman as well, who it was her first time in the game, but she was playing some Among Us in order to help raise awareness for young people to go out and vote in the upcoming US election. She is the youngest Democratic Congresswoman who was inducted. I think she was 29 when she got in a couple of years back. She's now in her early 30s, but extremely popular online presence at this stage, especially during these times in America. Did you get a chance to watch any of this at all? I don't really know what the timing was for you.
I think I could have watched it if I cared.
Right.
But I don't. So I didn't, I guess. I guess raising awareness for voting is good. I think it's probably I know it's a very important issue in America in the fucking 14 days to come.
It's
but
under 3 weeks when shit hits the fan.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't give a fuck about streaming or US politicians except when they're actively fucking my life up. And so I didn't care about any of this. Good on her, but I don't give a fuck. I don't know who any was it. So Disguised Toast was playing, right?
There was,
I think.
Yeah, Pokimane was one of them. It's sort of the one you were talking about. There's a couple of names on there that I recognize, but don't really follow it at all.
I've watched a lot of Toast's videos back when he played games that I thought were interesting, but I don't find Among Us videos interesting. So
okay,
yeah.
I believe it was I think it was the third highest in terms of viewer count. We talked about one on this podcast, which was the Ninja and Drake stream, which garnered a lot of views. I think that was around the 600,000 mark. But this one was also a debut stream and all, and I think you kind of have to look at. I think she was streaming on other platforms as well, and you've got the people she was obviously streaming with, right, who were also broadcasting at that time. So it's a big number right there. Anyway, very impressive. It garnered like a lot of traction. It was on everywhere over here, like CNN, BBC. I saw Forbes articles. Like it hit all the mainstream media, not just the gaming stuff. So I think should be someone to keep an eye out for in the future. Next up, we got some more Twitch news, but not as good. They are sending out mass DMCA notices to partners and issuing them their first warning, while also automatically removing archived videos infringing of those DMCA notices. So this is in relation to music that's being used in people's streams, and they have basically deleted like their archived videos. They're infringed on these, but also didn't tell them which ones were. Kind of just remove them. And so you end up with situations where Twitch partners have lost their content and also don't know why they've lost their content and the reasoning behind it. Like, was it in a game they were playing, or was it music that was playing during their stream in the background? Was it something
How are you
else?
supposed to play NBA?
Tony Hawk. Like
Tony Hawk, yeah, exactly, right. Like
Rock Band. I think Rock Band's probably out of it by now, but
well, God forbid a fucking Star Wars game. Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean we run into these issues whenever you and I do like our what are they? We do like our live reaction videos while PlayStation's showing off their newest, gaming reel, and we get hit with fucking notices all the time. Like, you've used 3 seconds of this song, or like Square Enix has claimed this video because you've used part of their gaming footage. And you're like, all right, cool. This is the world we live in. And like, we'll do like an hour and a half stream, and we'll end up with like 45 takedown notices on the video. Not takedown notices, but like strikes being like, you can't claim any money on this, but they can because you used 4 seconds of this song. And you're like, oh, that's fun. And now that's something that's coming over to Twitch, it looks like. So it just seemed like a really bad way of like handling this, not having any way for people to really understand what it is they've done wrong, apart from using something that they probably shouldn't have. It's just strange.
Music labels are fucked, man. Music labels are so fucking cooked. And it is surprising to me that they have survived for as long as they have. Like, Kanye West is the biggest dickhead I can think of, who isn't directly a politician. But he is 100% correct in his war against fucking music publishers, because they're all fucked. They all deliberately take advantage, as much advantage as they can, of hopeful young talented people who literally just want to make the world better with their music. And like, publishers are generally just fucking parasites. Not everyone who works with them is a parasite, but the way they work is
their contracts are just fucking nuts.
Exactly. And so this is more of the same, of more of music publishers literally just trying to eke out money wherever they can out of people, talented young entertainers, so that they can get money for doing as little as humanly possible. The fact is that the music industry has been in a bad way for a long time, and the fact is a lot of that has to do with the reluctance that music publishers have shown in shifting how they do anything. So, like, yeah, this is more of the same from a bunch of people who have shown little to no interest in changing. I don't know that they will anytime soon. All that's going to happen is that they will inevitably die out. I've seen a lot of fucking like artists instead making direct deals, with people to use their money, to use their music rather, and that's what's going to keep happening. They're literally playing themselves into a position where they can't win.
Yeah, I mean, because we're at a stage now where, CD sales are pretty much fucking dead, right?
Yeah.
Vinyl's overtaken physical media at this point, and so like they're not really needed. It's just they can sell directly to streaming services like Spotify or Google Music or any of those places.
Yeah.
I guess that's where the other thing comes in of them getting screwed over is how much money they make off streaming and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think Twitch needs to do a better job of giving tools to Twitch partners in order to fix these problems so that they're not constantly getting strikes to the point where eventually they'll get removed.
Yeah.
Anyway, saw a lot of people quite upset about this because they got notices and didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crap.
How can you blame them?
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Next up, we got PUBG. We talked about this last week. They're putting a new map in. We said that they were only doing this map on third-person perspective. You and I said that was a bad idea. It's a terrible idea. They seem to have agreed. They listened to the podcast. They said, yes, we've made the wrong decision here, and we've decided to go back on that, and it will now be available on first-person perspective servers as well. We told you so? Is that what we say here every time they do something?
Flip-flop. Yeah. How did you No, the surprising thing is that they didn't arrive at this conclusion in the fucking first place. Like, good Lord. That is a trend. That is a trend at PUBG Corp, and it's a trend that will probably continue. And yeah, it's just disappointing to see them repeatedly make the same mistakes over and over and over again. Question is, do I reinstall PUBG to check it out again, all over again? I mean, I did say I'd do it if it went to first-person perspective. So
yeah.
Yeah. I think Drew was taking bets on how long I'd last.
That was
or
me.
Was it you? I can't remember.
That was me.
Right?
Yeah, I think someone guessed 22 minutes.
22 minutes. Okay. So I just have to beat the spread, hey?
I think the other one was 0 minutes because it'll blue screen every time you fire it up.
All right. So if I can make it at 23 minutes, I'll have won. It's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a challenge. I feel no motivation to do it now at the moment. I just can't imagine playing that game, especially when Zombies Royale is being awesome. Anyway.
Right. And the last story we've got here is NBA 2K21 adds unskippable ads to their pre-game loading screens. So this one was brought to you and I's attention over the weekend.
Like Dr. E3 money.
We got a message from Drew saying, hey, I've just got this ad in my game and I can't skip through it, even though my game has loaded. And then he sent us a picture of it. And lo and behold, he was playing on PC. I fired up my version on PlayStation 4 and got the exact same ad, which was an Oculus Quest 2 ad. And it runs for, 15 seconds, something like that. Once the ad finishes, you can then start interacting with the game. On the PlayStation and Xbox at least, you can then start making changes to your game lineup after that ad is finished. Before that, it doesn't let you do anything, so you can't skip it. On PC, if the game has loaded, you have to sit there and finish watching that completely. So I recorded a video of it. I sent it over to Steve at Stevivor, and he checked out his on the Xbox, got the same thing, also took a recording. And so we had an article go up on Stevivor over the weekend. I went to bed because it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when we finished getting everything up, maybe 2:30. But I messaged them and I said, hey, I think this is worth looking into because it seems dumb. And I woke up and it had sort of exploded a bit. Like I saw people talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice. That's good. It's getting some hits." And then I realized they weren't talking about our article; they were talking about someone else's Twitter message.
Yep.
Which is a bit shit. So yeah, so adding to this, some guy on Twitter basically took Steve's video on Xbox, and Steve Reddit Survivor put up a title card at the front of his video that said Survivor. It's got some flashy music and a logo, and then it goes into his recording on Xbox, and it shows you him loading into the game, the ad popping up, and then not being able to do anything past that ad. This person put it up on their Twitter page as a video. They have about 8,000 followers for whatever reason. I don't know. But they edited the videos and removed the title card of the front of Steve's video, and I cut that out, posted it, and then posted it on Reset Era. I tried to post it on Reset Era the night before because I thought it'd be interesting. People would want to read about it. I couldn't because I'm not a. You need like 100 posts on there, and I just read Reset Era. I don't engage at all, so I couldn't post it. I posted it on the NBA 2K Reddit thread that night and went to bed. But then I get up in that morning, and that post is there. He's also posted, same dude on Reddit, and he's just posted the video and basically said blah blah blah, like summary of what's happened, and that was it. It was about 5 pages long at that stage, and so I jumped in and wrote, "Hey, like someone needs to credit this original video. It is literally the same video because the guy forgot to remove Steve's user account
Gamer
at the
tag.
top. It tells you his gamer tag. If he would have cut out an extra 3 seconds of that video, dude would have got away with it. No one would have noticed it, and he would have got all the love in the world. But because I could see his gamer tag, Steve's gamer tag still up there, I was like, it's literally Steve's video. He's edited out like the Survivor part. I was like, hey, this is the original article. This is the author. Like, it's can a mod please like credit the original article? That didn't go anywhere. I then jumped up on my Reddit page, and it had about 90 upvotes at that stage. And then about an hour or two after I checked it, the 2K mods deleted it or removed it from the page, saying it was a repost. And so I wrote back to them and said, this isn't a repost. This isn't like a credible news article. There's videos and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's from an actual website. Sent it off. Anyway, Steve eventually woke up later on in that day. I sent him a bunch of messages saying, hey, this has happened. This has happened. Like, do you know anyone at Reset Era that can look into this for us? Do you know any mods? And he eventually got in touch with someone, and it ended up just being this snowball effect of like, they basically updated that Reset Era thread. The mods fixed it. There was a Reddit thread on our games that was like 8,000 upvotes that was linking to this guy's Twitter page again with the video on there. The good thing about that is that
was after there was some blog site that fucking full blown effect. Like, this is actual, like, there are fucking many schools of thought, but in my opinion, it was literally plagiarism. It had plagiarized the Survivor story and it was at like 4,500 fucking upvotes or some shit. But it was like exactly the same format, except it didn't have the videos. It just had tweets about it. And none of the tweets referenced Oculus, which was the like sort of smoking gun that he literally just copied the Survivor story. But yeah, that was well upvoted. I had to go. I went on the offensive on that one and posted how it was plagiarism. Obviously, I reported it. That one got taken down. They then linked to a fucking tweet. That got taken down at 8,000. And then obviously Survivor's story went up. But like, yeah, fucking dog shit cunts. I hate the fucking, like, just fucking, like, how hard is it? Just attribute fucking credit where it's fucking due. You know, like.
Yeah. I literally did that night when Drew messaged us. I said, "Do you want credit in this article?" Like I asked him, and he said no. Right. So I was like, "All right." Sometimes people don't want their name in there for whatever reasons, you know, whether it's work related or they just don't want their name out there.
But that's if it's a fucking website that's posted a story and you literally just steal the story, at the very least you could fucking link to them.
Yeah.
Instead of like stealing it and stripping out any fucking or as much of the credit that your fucking dipshit ass is able to fucking notice.
Yeah.
And then just
so within about 30 minutes, the Reset Era thread was fixed up. Reddit Gaming or Games was also fixed up. They basically removed his post to his Twitter thread and I guess the one that you're talking about, the website, and they changed it all to Survivor. And then it went off. So here was a Sunday, and it was getting traction on social media. I saw people talking about it, and then Monday hit over here in the US, and that was it. It was fucking everywhere, like all over the place. I woke up and it was on like IGN, GameSpot, VG 24/7. Like I saw a Forbes article about it. Like Kind of Funny Games. It was their headline on Greg Miller's podcast. It was just. There was a couple of like I saw YouTubers with like 4 million followers that were talking about it. It just went dumb. It was all over the place. So it took off as it should have because it was something that shouldn't be in the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
NBA 2K21 or NBA 2K in general has had a lot of ads in their games in the past. But they generally don't affect the gameplay aspects of it. Like you've got the Gatorade logo and billboards in the background, and like we're going to the Mobile One replay and like that sort of thing. But this was an ad in a fully priced game that you couldn't skip, at least on PC. And in terms of like the game was loaded and you couldn't get past it until it finished. And on the Xbox and PlayStation, although you had to wait to the end, you couldn't then go to the lineup screen where you can start playing with your lineups or anything like that. You had to sit there and watch this ad. And that's where issues start to come into play.
I'm so annoyed because in my review I wrote how they were less in your face with the fucking like having their hands out for fucking money. And then they patch it in so that they make that not true. Like, fuck, that's aggravating. It's just, it's just so shitty.
Yeah, it sucks. So I guess in response to that, was it today? I think it was today, or late yesterday. 2K did put out a statement about it. It says, as many are aware, in recent years, ads have been integrated into 2K TV segments. Yesterday's 2K TV ad placement impacted our players' experience in a way we didn't intend. As these ads are not meant to run as part of the pre-production introduction, this will be fixed in future episodes. Thanks for your continued feedback. I don't know. That just seems like a non-apology to me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we've been doing this for years. Yeah, we know that. It's good. Stop doing it.
Be better.
And then also that line that I just read out, like, as these ads are not meant to run as part of the pre-production introduction. Like, that's why I read it out twice, because it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Then why is it there? They shouldn't be there. Anyway.
Nope.
Yeah, it was I don't know. It was interesting to see that sort of blow up over the over those like 2 days. Eventually, my Reddit post on the 2K forum got put back up on the 2K Reddit page.
Right.
They were like, look, to skip a long story, we've reinstated your post. I was like, okay, sure. There was obviously a discussion behind the scenes I didn't want to go into. But anyway, yeah, it was just funny to watch all that sort of kick off and be a big thing over the course of that. But also just the like, man, have some fucking decency. We see that a lot, like people just ripping other people's work off and just not crediting them and taking it for their own, and just it's and like I said, the guy would have got away with it if he just cut out an extra 3 seconds of that video, and no one would have known at all. Like, there's no way to prove it at that point, but he fucked up.
Yep.
Anyway, that's NBA 2K21. That's the news. There was a lot. There. Nearly an hour of news. Have we got any questions on Discord?
We do. Let me just work out when. Okay, here we go. Dr. E3 Money writes, Ubisoft really releasing 3 big in inverted commas, open world games within like 35 days of each other. What the fuck? First of all, Drew, Ubisoft is singular, so it would be is Ubisoft really releasing. That's just a freebie for you, Drewbos. Morkai follows up with AC Valhalla, WD Legion, and question mark. Immortals Phoenix Rising is the third. I think it used to be, what was it? Gods and Monsters.
Yeah.
Now it's Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is an infinitely worse name, but they had to change it because apparently Monster Energy Drink was suing them, which is hilarious.
Far Cry is also out in February.
Fucking hell. So, I got the feeling from my play session with Legion a couple of months ago. I played both Valhalla and Legion, and I felt like they were quite different in the way that they played. They're obviously open world games, but yeah, I felt like they were quite different from one another. They played quite differently. So I don't think that's that big a deal, and everything I've seen of Immortals Phoenix Rising makes it look extremely different. It looks like Genshin Impact, except fun. So that's probably going to be a good thing. So yeah, it seems like they're doing that, but tis the season, as they say. We are coming into Christmas season. We're coming into the silly season for game reviews. The next couple of podcasts are going to be absolutely fucking choppers. They're going to be goofy. I'm not sure exactly on the timing, but one of our next 2 is going to be the dumbest fucking podcast.
The one where the PlayStation and Xbox drops the same week as Cyberpunk. That's the crazy one. That's going to be an 8-hour episode.
We might get Nate in just to.
I'm just thinking, is that the week before our end of the year show, or it could be the last one?
It'll be fucking we might just fucking wrap it up there.
Yeah,
one giant fucking podcast. But yeah, no.
Those.
So yeah, it is the season, and Ubisoft is basically just trying to get everything they can out of this one giant area. People. I don't know if people who like Valhalla necessarily will like Legion and vice versa. I have no idea how. I think Immortals Phoenix Rising might be pretty Assassin's Creed-y. I got everything I've seen from it gives me the feeling like they've learned a lot from the Assassin's Creed soft reboot that was Origins. And I think a lot of that knowledge has gone into Immortals, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the same fucking dealio. I think they're just trying to do Breath of the Wild. So it is honestly. I think it's reach. Yeah, I think it'll go well. Yeah, fucking. If they're good games, fucking bring it on. I haven't really been into the Assassin's Creed games for ages. But what I played of Valhalla was good fun. And yeah, it's an interesting setting for a game. So, and Legion, I really enjoyed my time with Legion. I can't wait to play more of that if I ever fucking get to. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see with Phoenix Rising. I don't know. It's certainly bold to cluster them all together, and then Far Cry. Yeah. Which one do you reckon? You know how EA likes to send games out to die?
Yeah.
You know, they sent Titanfall 2 out to die. Which one of these games do you think they're sending out to die?
I don't think any of them.
It's Immortals, right? No.
Does Immortals have a date?
Isn't it like fucking first week in November? Sorry, December or whatever the fuck. Phoenix.
This just says
Rising
2020.
release date.
December 3rd?
December 3rd. There we go. Yeah.
That's not really. I mean, if you're gonna send a game out to die, you release it on Cyberpunk Day.
No, they wanted to like get something. They just don't like. They're like.
You know. I mean, I'll put it this way: December 3rd is a very late time for the end of the year for Game of the Year. I don't have the exact dates yet, but Game of the Year for the Game Awards probably get that in the next 2 days, and the cutoff date, my guess, is probably going to be Cyberpunk Day. It's usually about mid-November, or sorry, early November. I think they might shift it a bit to fit Cyberpunk in, but we'll see. So I think December 3rd is too late for Game of the Year stuff. Like at that stage, people are working on that stuff already. Yeah,
and it's too early for the next year's version.
Yeah. So that could be the one that's like, that still could be an excellent game, but maybe they're just not as confident. I don't know.
Yep. Makes sense.
Or it could come out and just blow us all away. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Surprise. Yep.
Morkai says, I think I've heard of it. Don't know anything about it. Kind of sounds familiar. That's not a question, Mork. Fucking focus up, mate. Fridge Monster Man writes, Hi, Joab. Hi, Luke. Something I missed from the Australian Gamer podcast is Matt and Yug would often talk about Australian game devs, especially the Brisbane-based ones. What's the current state of the games industry in Australia? I think it's on the up again. I mean, it's been tough, right? Like, back when the Australian Gamer was making podcasts, there was like
heaps.
You know, Sega was still doing stuff. Didn't they
2K?
Release a bunch of Sega games like
Yeah.
last week or some shit, like the fucking prototypes or some shit? I thought I saw on Twitter some of the old Sega devs from Brizzy were talking about like a Golden Axe. Was it Golden Axe? Golden Axe prototype they made or some shit that was getting released, and apparently it was developed in like 2 weeks or some shit. like it was not supposed. It was like literally put together as a prototype and not really designed for release. And apparently Sega's polished it up or something, or are polishing it up to release it sometime soon or some shit. Yeah, back then, like there were bigger studios, but I think there's still loads. Well, I don't think. I know there's still loads and loads of game devs. And obviously, you know, in Sydney we've got Wargaming is
Wargaming's just started up. Yeah, they're working on an announced game.
I think 10 months now, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're working on something unannounced, which I will be extremely interested in checking out. Although we'll have to couch that one in a bunch of disclaimers due to personal friendships. But yeah, like
Sledgehammer is in Melbourne. They just opened up.
Yeah, that's true. And like, yeah, there's the AGDAs were on the other week with celebrating the best Australian game developers. So if I recall, the list had a pretty fucking long list of names on it. So I think like there's definitely game development still going on in Australia.
Is it EA that's the biggest one at this stage? Like Fire Monkeys?
In Australia?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it? Are they bigger than fucking? I've been to fucking wargaming.
Right. How many people are wargaming at this stage?
Pretty fucking huge. There's a lot of fucking people. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, there's 170 at Fire Monkeys, so I'd say that they're probably the biggest. Yeah. But yeah, I think like Fire Monkeys is a great example. You know, there's a trend to focus more on mobile gaming because I think the turnaround time, the schedules of releasing the programs of work suit themselves better to how Australia functions as a working environment a little bit better. So yeah, we've got a load of fucking mobile games, but not many big AAA games, which I guess is why we don't really look into them all that much because we're sort of a bit on that sort of trend. Although I think we note whenever we're talking about an Aussie game,
we try. What was the last big one? Was it LA Noire? Like proper.
That was the last giant one, like the really big one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, good question. It's always something I think we try to keep in the back of our mind, but we just don't focus on it because we're a bit more AAA focused. And I think you're on a winner here with this liquid metal cooling thing. I'd be just like the T1000, but the T1000 was destroyed by molten metal, unless maybe the T1000 is like the One Ring. It can only be destroyed in the fires which it was forged. Perhaps that's another question for James Cameron. Jim Cameron wouldn't have any interest in Jimmy C, our boy JC, wouldn't have any interest in answering that question because he wants to tell you more about how Avatar 2 is going to rock the world 17 years after Avatar 1 came out.
Is Avatar 2 going to save the cinemas?
Will you be able to stream Avatar 2 2 weeks after it comes out in cinemas league?
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be any cinemas, judging by what I'm hearing at this stage. They reckon they'll be gone by the end of this year.
Comes out.
Over here.
Right. So that's definitely, by 2023 when they finally finish Avatar 3.
Yeah.
Avatar 2. No chance. Good stuff, Fridge Monster Man. Bish writes, Joab, what was your method for pandan infused rum and how excellent was it? It is supremely easy if you have a sous vide wand, which is kind of, it's supremely easy if you have a $100 piece of gear. Although I would heartily recommend everyone get a fucking sous vide wand. They're fucking amazing. If you don't have one, I think it just takes a lot more time. But yeah, it was really, really easy. I bought a fucking bottle of Bacardi and I got some pandan from my local Asian grocer. Frozen. I could only find the frozen stuff. I couldn't find any fresh. I don't know if you can buy it fresh. But yeah, dumped. What I was trying to do was keep it to a pretty standard ratio. So I measured it out. I believe it was. So it was. I think I did 10-1 for the pandan. So I did 200 grams of rum and 20 grams of pandan, I believe. And then, just crammed it into a bag, crammed them in together, sous vide them. I believe, if I recall correctly, it was like 60 degrees. I'm awful with recipes. But what you do if you didn't have a sous vide wand is you just cram it into a bag and store it somewhere that is dark and cold for a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks. And yeah, it tastes phenomenal. If you can get pandan is a fucking amazing flavor. What I used it for was I infused it with I mixed it with pineapple rum. I bought the pineapple rum. Next time I will make my own pineapple rum, but I bought pineapple rum and I mixed the two together. I mixed it with pineapple juice. It was equal parts rum, half again of pineapple juice, and I did a squeeze of lemon, just a tiny squeeze of lemon, and then some pineapple infused simple syrup. And fucking coconut water, half. So it was 1 part coconut water, 1 part pineapple juice, squeeze of lemon, 2 parts pineapple rum, 2 parts pandan rum. Mix it all together, and then you pour it into a bowl that is 2 parts milk. Pour it into milk. You go to pour it in, and then you let that sit for half an hour in the fridge, and then you strain the milk out using like a coffee filter. And what happens is it's called protein washing, and it washes it all through. And so all the any of the like the acidic bitterness of the pineapple or the lemon gets dragged out, and all you wind up with, or even the rum itself gets dragged out, and all you wind up with is this like really smooth drink, which is called a clarified milk punch.
Okay.
And if you make that, you like seriously, I backwards engineered that drink from a cocktail bar here in Sydney, and I've only ever I don't know if I said this on the podcast. The times I've been to that place, I've always been so drunk that I should not have been allowed service. So it is extremely impressive that I have managed to backwards engineer anything out of those evenings. But I'm pretty sure I nailed this fucking cocktail.
It's because when you throw up the next morning, you're like, "What's that taste?"
Pandan, pineapple rum, delicious. But yeah, it is my favorite cocktail, and you just make a bunch of it, and then whenever you want some, you pour a shot of it over some ice. It is like, I think 80% fucking rum. It's like it's a shot of rum basically, but it tastes really nice. So yeah, Good question. Thanks, Bish.
More?
Heathy writes, "Hello, Theg app. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. I'm nearly at the end of Ghost of Tsushima, and I have found myself thinking back to the start of the game where you have that first duel with Khotan Khan and thinking it'd be cool if you could somehow actually defeat him there and then, either ending the game early or changing the rest of the game. The fight would have to be crazy hard to do it, but it would still be cool to have the option. I thought back to Far Cry 4, the way you can end the game on your first visit to Pagan's Mansion, and Metal Gear Solid 3, where you can shoot the end while he's on the dock in the wheelchair, skipping that boss battle later in the game. Can you think of any other moments where a game hasn't prompted you to do something, but still made it possible to do if that's how your mind works, either ending the game early or changing something big later on? Also, what other games could have had a secret moment like that but didn't? Something like RDR2 with Arthur shooting the Pinkertons when they first approached him while fishing with Jack. Anything come to mind? Anything come to mind, Luke?
No. Like for
Nothing?
me, the red Far Cry one that Heath mentioned
Right.
was one, and because that's the one where you sit there and do nothing, right? You kind of just
wait for 10 minutes.
You just wait.
And it just ends. That's the one on the bus, right?
In Far Cry 4.
Far Cry 4? Yeah.
Yeah,
What was the latest Far Cry?
Right? 5.
Yeah, then it was 4. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Pagan Min. Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. Like, yeah, I'm disappointed that Ghost. I was actually wondering when I had that fight whether or not you could beat him at the start of Tsushima. I actually really dislike it when you can't. Khan first fights. Can you win? Yeah, I actually really dislike it when you can't win those fights. Anytime you're like literally unable to win, it bugs the shit out of me because it feels like you're being like it feels anti like the purpose of a video game, that it robs you of interactivity, and
Sure.
I'm big on interactivity in video games.
I think Sekiro
Yeah.
did that, right? Where you could technically beat him, but he would just still cut off your arm.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the start of that. Metal Gear Solid's a pretty like good example of it. Like that series does it a fucking ton. Obviously the end in Metal Gear Solid 3, which might be one of like, it's not that moment specifically isn't why, but it is one of the many reasons why that game is in my top 3 of all time.
Right.
But Metal Gear Solid like had loads of like, you could give up in the torture sequence, right, in the first one, and Meryl would die, right? Was that how she died? She definitely died. Or you get like fission mailed if you like there were a bunch of different ways that you could fail the game with different fail like game over screens and stuff like that. And that was always like quite clever, the way that they anticipated people doing things the wrong way and technically rewarded them for it. Nier Automata is one, I think, that is built around the concept of you ending a game
Quickly.
and then playing on.
Yeah.
Or Doki Doki Literature Club, right? Anticipates a billion different ways that you can do it. Like if you delete, I can't remember the crazy chicken TDLCs, but like if you delete the crazy chick, if you delete her character file, like that's one way that you can like win the game. But if you do it before a certain point, it like admonishes you for cheating and stuff. Like there's a lot going on. Like I love that sort of stuff, that sort of meta stuff. Although I do understand that some people find it to be kind of wanky.
Yeah, one that I'm just had a quick look through my list of Steam games, and one that I played recently. I might have talked about it on here. I can't remember. The Witness, the puzzle game where you get to the end of that game and you sort of learn more about how the world works and how to interact with it. And so when you go back to the start of that game, you then see things that you didn't see the first time you were there, and like you can actually just do that from a brand new save file, start interacting with that world off the get-go.
Yeah. Good one, Heath. That started out really dumb, but you turned it around. Well done, Heath. Good stuff. That's a good question. That is it. That's all our questions. Thank you, Heath. Fish, Fridge Monster Man, Morkai, sort of, and Dr. E3 Money.
Excellent.
Good stuff. I love questions. You guys should all ask a question about where the fuck is my spaghetti Skittles. Just ask the question. I'm asking
anyone
now.
Cares about your spaghetti Skittles.
Everyone
Where is my burrito and my ice cream, Joab? That is the real question.
You confirmed yourself that the ice cream was nothing.
No, I'm saying we didn't write it down. We forgot to write it down on there, or you deleted it. One of the two.
Unbelievably convenient. I don't have access to the spreadsheet.
Because you deleted it and then unshared it from yourself. That's what's going on here. Mind games.
Unbelievable.
We are The Gap. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all those places you get podcasts from. You'll be able to check us out. Please rate and review the show if you have a moment. It helps other people find it. You can send us questions via email, thegapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord, and leave us questions like those other fine people did. We've also got a bunch of channels in there, people talking about all sorts of things that are happening in the world of video games.
Phones. Many discussions about phones
and headsets. I saw some headset stuff happening.
True.
Yeah. We're also playing
by SteelSeries support, which is
yeah. You can also jump in and play in some of our gaming channels. There's generally people playing in there at night at some stage. So you can jump in and check that out, see what we're doing. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/the GA podcast, twitter.com/the GA podcast. You can watch our video on YouTube, podcast in video form, thegapodcast.com/YouTube will take you to that link. And everything we just talked about is on our website, thegapodcast.com. If you want to go check that out, some of the links on the website are right there for you to see, or you might want to go check out some of our old shows. You can go do that directly from there. And that is all thanks to our Patreon members who help keep the website running. You can go to patreon.com/thegapodcast, become a member, get the podcast early, except for tonight because of this embargo we're doing. But generally, it goes up about a day earlier for most of the time. So thank you, everyone. Does that every month? Greatly appreciated.
Thanks so much.
That is all for this week. You got anything you want to spruik out at all that's going on?
Not at the moment. Yeah, not right now. I'm still waiting on a couple of things, but coming soon. Maybe very soon. I don't fucking know anymore. I don't know.
Yep. I'm trying to think.
What about you? You got a big scoop. Did a big scoop.
I guess, go to Survivor.com. We'll get anywhere. It's everywhere at this stage. It's all over the place. Survivor.com. Go check out the article that Steve and I put together. And keep an eye on Survivor for my Watch Dogs Legion review going up at launch. So we'll be talking about that game next week. Should be exciting. Hopefully we can both talk about it. That'd be good. And I think we will be fine with timings on that one. I'll have to go check it out, but I think we'll be okay. So should be a good episode. And this seems to be like a I don't know, like the start, right? Things will be popping off the next couple of months.
Yeah.
It should be big.
It's gonna get real dumb.
Yeah. Hey, fast. you know what else I've been thinking of? We should check out that Phasma. What is it? Phasmophobia or something?
Yeah, we have to. I am so keen. You know, it's my kind of game.
Because I've been keeping an eye on this game for like 3 weeks now. I pop in every once in a while to see. It still seems pretty rough.
Right.
And I figured that you probably wouldn't like it because you're a giant baby. But then I saw the videos of people hacking other people, and I was like, that's amazing.
I haven't seen any of that. I haven't seen anything. Nate sent me a link saying, hey, Joab, you got to play this. You're going to shit. And I'm like, oh, cool, let's do it.
Hackers have been going into streamers' games, like finding streamers, joining their game, and just causing fucking mayhem in their game. It's amazing. It's good.
Gold.
But yeah, we should tee up a time.
Definitely play. Yeah.
Maybe on the weekends.
Yeah. Yes.
Excellent. All right. That is the show. Thank you for listening. See you next week.